This episode brought to you by Audible! Mikey, you want to try and do it?
Yeah.
Do you? Can you do it? Is today the day?
All right, this is it. Okay.
All right, don't fuck it up.
You guys, this episode is brought to you by audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin for a free book.
And 30 free days to get you
And
started.
30 free days. In
Oh, God.
Sabotage!
audibletrial.com for 30 days free and a book to get you started. And for
Hey,
your
Mikey.
book
Good
recommendation,
job.
Jen, for the most obvious book recommendation for this movie. Yeah.
Yes, today I am recommending It by Stephen King. It is what this movie that we're covering today is adapted from, and it's awesome. It's really long, but the Audible version is read by Steven Weber from Wings. All right, everybody read It.
This episode also brought to you by Nick B.
Hey, Nick B.
Nick B is one of the best. And Nick B wants you guys to check out God Country at godcountryfilm.com or God Country Film on the socials.
Yep.
It is our friends from Modern Horrors, Luke and Jacob, trying to get a film made. This episode also brought to you by Carl.
Hey, Carl. Welcome to the party. Carl has a Twitch stream, right?
He does. Carl is actually one of my Twitch friends. And if you want to watch him stream video games, his Twitch is twitch.tv/Carlos MOL. So big thank you to Nick B and Carl for being our Burn It Down Patreon patrons. So if you want your very own Patreon shout out, go to patreon.com/horrorvirgin for a lot of great perks.
Do you think Nick and Carl are going to become best friends?
I think Nick and Carl are going to hate us forever.
They probably will. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for the support, and we're sorry.
We really appreciate it. Honestly,
really do.
everyone supporting the podcast is amazing. Those that can pay on Patreon are those that just tell their friends, family, and coworkers about us.
Yeah.
Seriously, you guys are doing extra.
Listen, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, all of that. The family is growing a lot.
It is.
And we're a little bit blown away by it. Anyway,
No. Hey, Todd, would you mind bringing the theme music in, please?
I don't think Viagra makes you last longer. I think it just helps you get it up.
I think it both, right?
I don't think so.
Aren't you're supposed to call the doctor if you are hard for
Yeah,
more than 4 hours.
because all it does is like increase the blood flow to your dick.
You can finish and still have it going on.
Well, that's what I mean, but it doesn't keep you from finishing.
Yeah, but if you keep going, have you finished? Think about it.
Welcome to Horror Virgin, everybody. We are classing it up today. Hey, guys, I'm Jen.
Not Mikey.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
I'm so excited we watched It Chapter 1 today. This was our listener request episode from March. We
Yes,
asked
it was.
for a monster movie, and you guys delivered.
Do you think this is like a monster movie, though?
I do think it could be considered a monster movie because it is a monster.
Okay, so I asked that question too before we saw it, and I can sort of see why it does fall into that, or could fall into that monster category.
What
That's
else
not
would you
where I
put it
would
in?
put it originally, but I can see it.
What other category or subgenre
Just like a
would you put it in?
psychological fuck you, and I hate Todd.
Yeah, but I feel like a monster is a creature that doesn't have like special powers kind of thing.
So its monsterness is the creepiness or is the horror factor.
Right.
So it can't shapeshift.
Like Jaws is a
like
monster
Lake
movie.
Placid.
Yeah, Lake Placid. Have you
Is
seen
that a horror movie? Of course I've seen it. It's Oliver Platt and Betty White at their best.
I mean, it's definitely a horror movie, I think.
Is it? Horror comedy, maybe.
If it is not a monster, what is it?
Well, I didn't read the book, but I know that it is a weird space alien spirit creature monster thing.
What? It's a space alien? So let's get into this fucking movie because
Yeah.
it's a long movie.
Now, let me say the book is significantly different than the movie, and I'm going to do my damnedest to only talk about differences if they actually matter to the story. But if you are curious about the book or if you've read the book and you want, shut up. If you want to deep
The listeners can't see the looks Mikey and I were giving her, but I guess you could guess based upon what you just said to us.
by how it distracted me and lost me my train of thought. If you are curious about the book and you want to listen to some really fantastic podcasts about the book, check out the Stephen King cast. He's got about 3 or 4 awesome episodes about this.
Or just email Jen at info@horrorvirgin.com and you guys can talk about it ad nauseum.
At jimferratu@gmail.com. Yeah,
Okay.
I would love to talk about this or any other Stephen King stuff. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so we start out on a rainy day.
With 2 rainy boys.
They're
One
in
of
their
them is
bedroom.
sick.
One of them is sick. They're
Yeah, faking sick.
He's not
No, he's
faking
actually
sick. He's
sick.
actually sick.
I'm really sick. I can't help you.
Mikey, it's called acting.
Was it?
yeah, it did come off a little bit as he was faking sick, but I think he, would have gone out and played if he
That's why he
wasn't.
felt guilty about him disappearing.
No, he felt guilty about him disappearing because he made him the boat and then the boat got him killed.
Right.
even if he was sick or not, he'd feel guilty about that.
Exactly. So he makes the SS Georgie, which is like a little paper boat.
It's also the younger brother's name.
Yes, exactly, which is why they call him that. So he goes down into the basement because they got to put the paraffin wax on the boat so that it'll float.
Yeah, so it
in the
won't
water.
sink.
And he goes
It's just
down.
something kids do, you know?
Before TV was a
Well,
thing.
okay, and so we talked about this too, and this is maybe a good time to bring this up. So the book is set in the 50s when they're kids and the 80s when they're adults. And so this is something that kids in the 50s might do, not necessarily when maybe kids in the 80s. I don't know
No,
if they would do it or not.
this movie takes place in 1989.
Yeah.
When bands like The Cult and Guns N' Roses exist.
And New Kids on the Block.
And MTV was a thing, right? Like you would be watching TV. You wouldn't be chasing an origami boat in the rain.
Right. And they updated a lot of the things that happened in the book to fit the 80s, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that they didn't change this because this is such an iconic part of the book that I think it works anyway. And it doesn't matter to me that they wouldn't do it in the 50s. So anyways, Georgie's out and he's chasing the boat and the boat.
So when Georgie is running under the barricade things and he
Yeah.
hits his head on the second one, I laughed out loud. That junk was hilarious.
I don't think it was so funny,
I
but
don't know about that. I think something's wrong with you.
I think I literally went, ha! Kids
you did.
are dumb.
You did do that.
Yeah.
And then he ran. So then the boat flies in or floats into the sewer and
Which is the only place it can go.
exactly. But if you're close enough, he could have just picked up and grabbed it. But he
This is so true.
Yeah.
He got bonked by the barricade, and so he lost. It got away from him. Anyways, it goes down in the sewer, and then we see Pennywise there.
I hate Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, I love Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, he's such a bad actor. Although I think he did great in this.
What do you not like him in then? Oh, Hemlock Grove?
Yeah, Hemlock Grove.
Did you watch Hemlock Grove?
I watched both
Why?
seasons of Hemlock Grove because it was like watching a bag of shit on fire. And his performance in Hemlock Grove specifically is fucking horrible.
You watch
Okay, so
so
if you
many
want
shows.
a show like that, you've got to come with me,
Yeah,
Jen, to
Riverdale. Yes. Oh, fun fact: this was shot in Riverdale, Toronto.
You should watch Riverdale.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch Riverdale.
If you watch Hemlock Grove, like Riverdale's 1,000 times better.
I hate watched Hemlock Grove. It was
No.
so
That's
bad.
why I watch Riverdale.
And specifically, Bill Skarsgård was fucking horrible.
What
in
does
it.
he look like without makeup on?
He's dreamy. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Have you seen him? He was in Assassination Nation, and he was great in Castle Rock.
So Pennywise is in the sewer.
Pennywise is in the sewer talking to Georgie.
Do they talk about anything consequential? Like he's
talk
just
about the
like,
circus. Mm-hmm.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers, and Pennywise is like, well, I'm Pennywise, the dancing clown.
Yeah.
We're no longer strangers. Mm-hmm. And then George is like, well, I gotta go because this is weird.
Right.
Like, you're in a sewer.
Yeah, why are you in the sewer?
And you're a clown. But he's also like 6, so it's not that weird to him.
I still think he thinks it's weird. Like he
he does think it's weird, but he doesn't think, oh, you're a pedophile that's going to kill me. He's just thinking, this clown.
Well, I mean, I've watched the movie and I still don't think that. The only pedophile in this movie is Bev's dad.
That's true.
We'll get there, Jen. And then he goes, well, if you're going to leave, let me give you your boat back. Pennywise goes completely land shark and bites his fucking arm off. Mm-hmm. And then when the arm stretches all the way out, like it stretches so long and grabs him and pulls him back into the sewer.
But what he says is Bill's going to kill you if you don't get your boat back. So he has to reach his arm in, and that's when Pennywise grabs him, and then no arms out. But did you see the woman behind on
Yeah,
the
with the cat?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
who saw what was happening and then walked back in? Yeah,
That's a theme, isn't it?
It
Because
is a theme.
there are a few shots where like grown-ups are like driving by in the car and they just don't do anything.
yeah, or they don't see threats that are around, or they're just creepy grown-ups. You
What's
know,
that about, Jen?
Well, that's part of the town. The town is just like a poison town.
I honestly thought that they just couldn't see Pennywise. Like
They can't.
No, because they drive by the bigger kid getting bullied. And
Yes.
they make eye contact.
Bigger
with
kid?
him. The little guy.
Yeah,
the little guy?
Ben.
Ben.
I don't know who that is. Can you describe him to me?
He's the chubbier one.
Oh,
He's
the fat
one
one?
that writes Bev the postcard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the one
The
that does
lover.
the research. He's the one that likes New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, the nerdy one.
Yeah, there's lots of
all
things
nerdy
about him we can say.
We'll
Yeah.
get there. I loved that guy.
I did too. He
loved
was
Ben
great.
so
that
much.
kid was a good actor
Yeah.
too. Okay, so but yes, the theme in this is that adults in this town really can't be trusted.
And I sort of feel like true to 80s when you were a kid, and I grew up in the 90s really, like most of my formative years were in the 90s, but my parents didn't care. Like during the summer they'd be like, all right, be back by the time it's dark outside.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my life too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to just go outside and play. Like I didn't ever want to play outside, but I could have, and I would just wander around my neighborhood, you know. But not all of us did.
I really did go into a sewer when I was a kid.
I did too.
Yeah.
It was, yeah,
I
why?
was way braver.
No,
are dumber.
Oh, stupid. Yeah, we
Dumber,
were
yeah.
so dumb. I wouldn't
Now I'm
even
totally an adult. Like, a flash flood could have killed me.
Yeah.
So Georgie crawls out with no arm. And what happens in the book is that he just dies and they find his body and they have a funeral and he doesn't get dragged back in the sewer. And the reason I say that is because what propels the story of this movie is that they're trying to find him. And in the book, they know he's dead and it's more of like a revenge story. They're trying to get revenge for him. They're not searching.
I kind of like that better.
Yeah, I do too. So now we're at school and we start to meet our losers club.
Yeah, we meet our cast of characters. By the way, I noticed your shirt.
Yeah.
Jen is wearing her Losers Club Dairy. Is it Dairy?
It's Dairy Maine. Yeah.
Dairy Maine, yeah.
Yes.
And that's the SS Georgie on it. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I wore this when I saw this movie too.
Nice.
So we've already met Bill, but now we meet Richie and Eddie and Stan. So they're 4 kids together.
Yeah, because they're walking out of class. And this is where you learn that Richie is like a foul-mouthed, funny, awesome character.
Do you mean a younger version of Todd?
But he wears glasses. So I,
Oh, sorry. A bespeckled Todd.
Yes, I don't wear glasses. But other than that,
That's the
Yeah.
only difference. Put a horror virgin cap on Richie, take those glasses off.
Yeah.
You got yourself a horror virgin.
he's a winner. You got yourself a winner, guys.
He is one of my favorite parts of
Yeah,
this movie. He's
of course
great.
he is.
yeah, when he
He's the
plans for
best.
summer, he's like, I'm going to go train on Street Fighter all summer.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, when I first heard that, I was like, he wants to be in street fights? I didn't quite understand that line until you see him playing Street Fighter later in the movie. Yeah, I was like, that makes
Training.
no sense.
All right, so we meet those 4 guys, and
Right.
then we walk past our bullies, who are just the most stereotypical bullies.
Oh, baby Kevin Bacon, and then the other 2, his
and then
cronies.
tall, dark bully and burping bully. Yes.
And Boy Scout cap guy.
The main one is Henry Bowers.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, we have baby Bacon,
Mm-hmm.
he's the ringleader, and the other 2, Humpty and Dumpty's, don't really matter.
They don't really.
And then we also meet some female bullies too, right here,
We
right?
do,
Oh,
yeah.
this is when it's playing Cult's "Love Removal Machine," which is a badass song. Love Removal Machine. I love that song. Anyway,
So, yeah, our bitchy girl is going into the bathroom where Bev is hiding in the stall smoking a cigarette, and they're calling her sluts and they're being really mean to her. And then they pour a bunch of water
this
into
is
the
so
trash
gross,
can.
man. I felt so bad for her.
And they dump the garbage on her head.
And it's girl bathroom garbage. Think about what is thrown away in there.
I'm telling you what, this part got to me probably more than any other part of the movie.
It was gross.
It really, really made me disgusted.
Yeah, it's gross.
It wasn't, I don't know. I didn't feel like it was real disgusting, but I felt bad for her. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you feel bad for her immediately.
Well, and that's a big theme in this book, too. Like, there is some harsh bullying in this
Yeah.
movie and this book. And that's something that pops up with Stephen King over and over and over again, like
Yeah.
the bully with the switchblade. And I just wonder, like, what kind of kids Stephen King went to school with, you know? And then Bev and Ben have their sweet little moment outside.
Oh yeah, outside because Ben, Ben is so great.
He really
Ben is
is.
trying to bicycle away, holding what looks like a class project or
Uh-huh.
whatever, and he's listening to his Walkman. And Bev walks out, and she's like, "You're not going to be able to do that," or
Yeah.
"Let me by," because he's blocking the stairwell. She's not being mean about it,
She's
but
not.
she's let me by.
Yeah, and he's really nervous. He drops the project, and she's like, "Those bullies are on the other side of the
on the
school.
west side of the
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
So you don't have nothing to worry about. So it's okay. Take a breath."
It's clear they don't know each other, and that Ben is the new kid at school because no one signed his yearbook, and then Bev signs it.
Yeah.
Well, then also it's like, everybody just calls me new kid, and she
Yeah.
goes, "There's worse things to be called."
Yeah, like slut. And
Yeah, like she
trash
was
dumped on
just
you.
called earlier in the day. You can tell he's just as hard as he's ever been in his life. So much so that he doesn't even ride his bike away. He like pushes it away and he's dragging his headphones like 3 feet behind him.
He's like the definition of Twitter-pated in that
Oh
moment.
yeah, and the actor who played him, I think, is the best of the children actors. Well, Bev was great as well, but I think of the boy actors, he
Yeah.
was my favorite.
Yeah, Bev, Ben, and Richie, I think, are the 3 that really stand out.
And
in
Richie's
the
from
movie.
Stranger Things. Like he's
Yes.
done a lot of
one's Ben?
work. Ben's the fat
the one we were
kid.
just talking. Yeah.
They all get mixed up in my head.
So then we see Bill in his house, and he's got this elaborate hamster maze looking at maps of the sewers under the city.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out where his brother is.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
his dad gets so mad. He's like, it's dead. Give up. Yeah.
Does he say that?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, he may not say those words exactly, but yeah, he's more or less like, he's dead. Get over it.
Right.
And
Or
in
we
a-
need to
in an
move
angry
on.
way. Yeah.
And we don't see his dad in like the rest of the film, right?
No.
No, he's floating.
Yeah, there really aren't any adults that we either see or can trust in this movie. Okay, so that brings us to Mike, because then we see him biking over to the meat packing or the butcher
shop.
Yeah. And he's got all his like little cuts of meat in his bicycle, and he's hiding from Henry Bowers. And then he goes into the alley and he's going to go in, but he starts to hear banging on the door and he sees hands.
Oh my
coming
God, this
out.
scared the hell out of me, man.
Yeah, this was a pretty scary scene. And so it's hands coming out of the like burned burned hands.
And it's like 8 sets of hands. Like it's not just 2 hands.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
a lot.
bunch of hands.
There's
Yeah.
like, there's like glowing fire in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
They all look burned. Jen, is that like a reference to something? Because it doesn't
Yes.
explain it.
Okay, so the structure of the book is that the 2 stories of grown-ups and kids are happening parallel, and it's like the adults will flash back, and so the main beats of the story happen to the kids, and then they happen to the adults, and it's going back and forth. And in between each of these major events, there are they're called interludes, and remember when Ben was talking about like this happened in this year, and then this happened, and it was the Easter egg explosion thing, and the black spot fire. So there are interludes where it tells those stories of all of the different things, and it goes into a lot of depth. And so one of them is the Black Spot nightclub. And in this nightclub, it's called the Black Spot because it was like in the 40s, and that's where the black people were allowed to go hang out. And some people who may or may not have been part of a club burned it down and killed all the people inside it.
A club where they like wear stuff on their heads.
Yeah, they had a specific outfit that they wore.
They're ghost cosplayers.
They were ghost.
Oh, God.
They were ghost cosplayers.
Hard K
Oh,
on
it's
that
the
one.
Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah. So there is a lot of racism in this book. There's a lot of like the bullies are super
So the
racist.
homeschool kid was probably called the black kid.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason that Henry hates him and is chasing him.
Oh, I thought Henry hated just all the kids younger than
He
him.
does, but there are specific reasons. Like there's a reason he hates Ben.
No,
And
he
there-
keeps telling the Mike to like, don't ever come into my town.
Oh yeah.
And that's the only
racist
person he
yeah.
says that to. I did notice
Oh
that.
yeah, well, and his dad is not the cop in the book, but he has a feud with Mike's dad in the book, and it's all about race and trying to like run his farm out of town.
Yeah.
And Henry kills Mike's dog in the book just because he's racist. So since we're talking about it, Mike's story is completely different in the book, and the book gives him such a better story, and that's one of the big problems I have with the movie. So Mike sees the hands coming out of the door, and then the door opens, and he sees what looks at first like meat hanging, like a big animal hanging from the meat
I honestly
hook.
thought it was a person who was just up on meat hooks.
Yeah, I think it was.
think it was,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it turns into Pennywise.
The glowing lights, and then you see Pennywise, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
then
hanging on the meat hook. Yeah, and it's really
This
scary.
is the first time we see his whole body.
That's true. Yeah, other than just his face.
he comes off the meat hooks and starts running at Mike, and then the baby
Oh,
Bacon's
that's
car
right. That's what it
almost
is.
drives over Mike, and Mike jumps out of the way at the last second.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the car goes by, and I think Baby Bacon goes, "Get out of my town!" Like they stop and yell
Told
at
you
him,
to get out of
and
my
then they
town.
drive off. And then it's the nice guy, the only nice adult in the whole movie.
The only nice adult.
The
in
only
movie.
nice adult in the whole movie is like, "Hey man, are you all right?" So like, he sort of became. Well, I mean, Pennywise is no longer there.
Right. Yeah.
It's just the nice adult, and
Yeah.
then that scene sort of ends, right? It just ends.
It does.
Okay.
And then the next thing we see is
We
Stan.
got like scary scenes for each child.
Yes, we see
Back to
like
back to
what
back to
every
back.
child is seeing.
And that's similar to the structure of the book. So Stan is practicing he's practicing his prayers for his bar
He's
mitzvah.
reading out of the Torah.
He is. I apologize if I'm saying any of that incorrectly to our Jewish listeners. Yeah, he's practicing. His father's the rabbi, and then
And sort of a dick because
Yeah.
carrying the theme of horrible adult parents.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
why can't you memorize the whole prayer? You're the rabbi's son.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take that book back to my office. You're clearly not using it. And
Yeah.
he's reading out of it. He is the only thing he's doing with it is using it.
somebody on IMDb pointed out that book is upside down, but I wouldn't know.
I mean, I didn't catch it either because I can't read.
I can't read
Exactly.
Hebrew. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't read
exactly.
Hebrew, but
so, anyways, but he's not into it. He's having a hard time, and so he walks into the office and he sees this painting on the wall. That's this creepy, skinny face flute
This
woman.
is kind of like a Picasso.
It was a little Picasso.
Well,
It-
because half of the face is tilted, and if you look at the tilt of the picture when he walks in, the top of the face that is supposed to be tilted is straight up and down.
Yeah.
And then he corrects it. So, like, the rest of the painting is, and her head's a little bit tilted.
Yeah.
And then he goes and puts the Torah back up on the bookshelf, and the painting falls. And you can't even see that happen. But just the sound of that falling and hitting the ground scared the shit out of me. I,
and
like, jerked and everything.
And it's a very dark scene, so you can't exactly tell what's happening.
hate it.
But yeah, it reminds me of the Scream. The
Screaming
Scream.
man. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is a terrifying painting.
Yeah,
It really
I hate that
is.
painting. So Stan goes to pick up the painting and put it back up on the wall, but the painting is empty.
Yes.
The woman is out of the painting.
And then we hear flute music playing from a door that's
Is it a flute or is it
slowly
clarinet?
opening. It's a flute. I said clarinet earlier, but it is a
It's a
flute.
woodwind.
Oh, okay.
So then we hear the flute music playing behind him, and we see the door creepily open, and then he turns around and she's right behind him. And then
Yeah.
we hear the flute drop to the floor. door at some point. Yeah.
You see her drop it. It's very eerie.
Yeah.
You
And
hear
she's,
her mom like, that was $200.
don't leave it in your car. Sorry. Personal memories came up. So then her mouth starts to open and she starts to get the it teeth.
Yeah, the
So she's
it
gonna
teeth
bite
is a
him.
very big theme. Yeah.
And then it's like his dad opens the door or something. Anytime there's a scene where a monster is chasing one of the kids, something happens at the end and it turns into a grown up to save the day, kind of.
Well,
Or
sort of.
end the scene.
Only if you're one of the main kids. That we see
Yes.
plenty of kids that doesn't happen for and they just die.
Yep. Anytime you see a poster with a kid's name, that story is told in the book.
Sure.
But yeah, I love the flute woman. I think she was, for me, the most effective of the scary monster forms that it turned into. The next thing we see is Ben's little segment, and Ben is in the library.
This is when I called him Mini Henry Zabrowski
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's like this big kid who's like a nerd and he's doing like research on a horror town. I was like, this is something that I could see Henry Zabrowski doing before the internet existed.
Well, so he's doing some kind of like genealogy of the town, and he's looking up all this history. And honestly, if I lived in a town like Derry, I would want to look up all the history because it's
But it
all
seemed like-
fucked up.
Yeah, that's true. It seemed like this is something he did for every town he lived in, though. And it just so happened that he found out, oh my God, this is a crazy town.
Yeah. So he's in the library and he's researching this. What it was like an Easter egg hunt at like a factory that has a big lawn.
The Ironworks.
Yeah, the Ironworks. And while everybody, like all of these kids were hunting for Easter eggs, the Ironworks exploded and killed like tons of kids. I think
I think
it
it's
was
like 88.
88 kids. Yeah.
And then he's like zooming in through these pictures, which I thought was a little ridiculous because
Yeah.
it's like if like in every movie that came out between like 2000 and 2007, like when they are like looking at security footage, they'll be like enhance.
Oh, yeah.
And it like zooms in slowly on the whatever the thing is. And he's doing that just by flipping the pages. And then he sees his kid's head in a tree.
Yeah.
Because he was in a thing controlled part. Because you pointed out, I never saw, when I saw the movie the first time, I didn't notice it. The librarian just turning and staring at him.
Oh,
It has
yeah.
the body language of it.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until this
I noticed
time.
that immediately.
So the book keeps zooming in.
Yeah,
and
after
it's
she
scary.
gives him the book and she walks behind him, she immediately turns and looks at him. Like before he even starts looking at the book to see all that stuff. It was freaky.
It wasn't. I didn't notice that the first time.
I didn't either. And so I kept looking at it when he's flipping the pages like Todd, and I was like, this is incredibly unnerving.
Yeah. And this is the egg thing.
Well, but first, what we see is the red balloon just floating across
Oh,
the
yeah.
library right behind him. Okay, so then he sees the smoking egg on the steps. And he follows it because, what are those chocolate eggs that are really good?
Yeah, but you know what doesn't burn? Chocolate.
Yeah, it melts.
Yeah.
I know, and it's delicious. Okay, so then he follows that egg, and then he sees another egg. So he's going on an Easter egg.
Man, I hated this.
I don't think
Yeah.
I would do this.
No, you wouldn't, Mikey.
Unless they were chocolate.
Yeah,
If you
then
have an
they'd be
inqui-
delicious.
Maybe the next one is chocolate.
What if they were Cadbury, though?
Yeah, what if he like went to each one and was like, maybe the next one's chocolate?
Honestly, if they were Cadbury eggs, I might do it.
Cadbury, that's what I was trying
Yeah,
to think
Cadbury
of.
eggs are delicious.
Cadbury eggs are the shit, man.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
like things with creamy centers.
That's true.
Ugh.
Chocolate on the outside. Yeah. All right, so he follows.
This is super scary because he goes down into like what looks sort of like the record room or
Yeah.
something like
Stacks,
that.
bro. That's what the libraries call them.
That's
They call them
true.
stacks?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know because I'm not a book nerd. But yeah, so he walks down into the stacks and he sees, I think just a little kid run by.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then you see like someone walking down the steps.
Twice as scary
holding
because it's old timey kid pants, which
Yeah.
are just
Yeah.
creepy.
That are
and
a
they're
little bit
holding
burned.
a basket of eggs. And then it like steps and you see right up to the neck. And then one more step and you see he's headless.
Uh-huh.
I lost it, man. I hated this.
I thought this was an effective one too. I liked it.
This was scary.
because then it starts chasing Ben.
Chasing him around the library, and then it becomes it. It is, or
Yes.
the clown Pennywise is right behind him and starts to chase him. Then he runs into the librarian, and like the spell is broken, and it's all back to
And then
normal
the scene ends more or less. But
Exactly,
that
yeah,
scene
yeah.
terrified me. There were so many of those scenes, and I just couldn't handle them. I hate them so much.
I actually thought this movie was scarier on my second watch than when I saw it in theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I kind of did too.
I don't know, man. If I had seen this in the theaters, I might have had to leave.
No, I mean, I remember getting out disappointed that it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to
Wow. You guys
You
are
know.
insane.
be. Well, I felt more scared tonight.
I was also, so the first time I watched this movie, it's like my mind trying to make sense of all of the changes and put them into the context of the book, because neither of those two monster scenes are in the book. The monsters are all completely different through the book. And what I really liked they did this is they changed the monsters into a way that made sense with the characters being completely different from the book. I think those are my two favorites of the monsters.
Okay, so let's talk about the Bully Ben scene, because this is where this is the first time we see Ben's stomach used as like,
Ben's stomach is.
he suffers a lot of abuse.
He does, yeah.
In the stomach specifically.
That's how my stomach feels.
because
that
baby Ben,
Yeah.
because baby Bacon takes out his knife and slices an H into
he's
his
gonna write
stomach.
his entire name into his stomach.
And then, like, one of his friends was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But then quickly was like, let's do it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm on board again.
Yeah.
But Ben kicks baby Bacon
Henry.
in the nuts and then in the face. And as he's doing that, he flips back over the railing. But
Yes.
right before this happens is when the car drives by and the parents do nothing. And Ben even goes, help.
Yeah, help me.
Please help.
You guys are dicks.
Yeah.
But you see the red balloon.
You do, yes.
And you do see the bully kind of like lose it in like a way that's not just like I'm beating somebody up. Like he
Yes.
is gone.
Yeah.
It could-
Well, he pulls his knife out and like carves the H into him. And you think he might kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is not, I'm not saying any kind of bullying is okay,
Right.
but I think there is a line between like harsh bullying and psychotic behavior.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's where and I think this is when you can start to see the difference, and that Henry's friends are like, oh, hold on, guys. What are
I think
we
that's
doing?
why the Humpty or Dumpty, whoever says, whoa, man,
Right.
I think that's supposed to let you see that divide. And it does.
Yes, Right. yes.
But then Ben kicks him and he flips over and then slides down the hill.
Yeah.
And
And they don't give up. They chase him.
no,
They
baby
don't. They
Bacon
all
jumps
fall
over and
down
just
the hill.
starts sliding down the hill after him. Yeah.
And he loses a switchblade.
It's sort of like that scene in The Princess Bride right
Yes,
before the
As You
yeah, it's sort of like the As You Wish
Wish.
scene because
Yeah.
they're like rolling down the hill together after each other.
Except it's much
one's trying to
darker.
murder the other one, not make out with them clearly after he
Yeah.
broke his spine.
And there's no Elways, man.
So they roll down the hill. He loses his switchblade. He goes, "My dad's gonna kill me if I don't find that knife."
Yeah, and then he orders all of his friends to continue looking for Ben when they're like, no, I'm not sure I'm into this anymore. But they still do it.
Yeah, they still go after Ben, and one of them helps him look for his knife. So it cuts to the other four boys in the sewer looking for Georgie.
Yes. Because the four boys were friends before, and they didn't
Yes.
really know Ben, Bev, or Mike.
Did they know Bev DeVoe?
They did.
What?
Actually, I mean, it's 89.
I know, right?
Did they? Yeah.
Probably.
Richie is trying to help Bill look for Georgie.
Yeah, and they're like deeper into the sewer.
And Stan and Eddie are standing on the outside and just not wanting to go into this.
Talking
sewer.
about gray water and telling me what gray water is.
And this is
Yeah.
an important conversation because Bill's talking about how they searched the quarry last week for Georgie, and like these four friends have been searching for Georgie like some of the time this summer already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I sort of feel like it's been since the spring.
Yeah,
Whenever
since
Georgie went
disappeared.
missing.
It's like 6 months ago
Is it
in the
6 months?
book.
Oh, is it? Wow,
Somewhere
okay.
around there,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, they're looking, and Eddie does not want to go in because he's a super hypochondriac because his mom gave him a really weird complex. And Stan is just very like uptight and proper and doesn't want to like step in gross water, which I completely understand.
I wouldn't want to either.
Yeah, but
they find Georgie's shoe.
No, they find Betty Ripsom's
That's right. They
shoe.
find Betty's shoe.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
And we know because it says her name. It says B. Ripsom inside
Yeah,
the
there's
shoe.
no way that's not her shoe.
Yeah, so Bill's like, well, maybe Georgie's in there too. Let's go look. And they're about to, Richie and Bill are about to, but then that's when Ben just splashes down.
Yeah,
into
who's
the
running
creek.
away from Baby Bacon and the Humpty and Dumpty.
And he
Yeah.
looks real bad.
Yeah,
He does,
but
yeah.
he's got an
Real
H
bad.
carved into his stomach, and they punched him in the face a few times.
And he fell down a huge hill.
Yeah,
Bruises and scrapes, and he's bleeding all over the place.
Yeah,
he looks
is
terrible.
all messed up. So they do what you would do when you find somebody like that. You go to the
Finish
local
him off.
CVS.
Go CVS.
So the four boys take Ben to get some like first aid stuff, right? And then it cuts back to the sewer, and that's when one of the Humpty or Dumpty go into the sewer looking for them.
Yeah, it's Patrick Hofstadter.
Well, looking for Ben. He doesn't know the
He's
four of the
looking
boys
for
were
Ben.
there, but
He's
yeah.
got like a can of hairspray and a lighter. He's
Yeah.
the flamethrower thing.
Yeah, and he's just wandering around the sewer.
I hated this.
Yeah, yeah, because he starts to hear whispering, and he thinks maybe because he still thinks he's like the menacing one in the situation.
Yeah, he thinks he has the power in that situation.
Exactly.
And he thinks that they chased Ben in there, and that's who he's hearing whispering.
Yes, and then we hear the whispering, and we start to see the outlines of 3 or 4 people, and then he flamethrowers again, and we see it's like a bunch of just dead people.
It looks like zombies.
Zombie kids.
Yeah, like zombie kids.
like
yeah.
the kids that have been been missing, is I think what they're saying. And then they get closer and closer, and then he runs away and runs to like a grate in the sewer, and then we see the dairy balloon floating over.
Yo, I scared so loud at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's the red balloon, and then it turns and it says, I love dairy. And then
Yeah.
it pops, and then it, or Pennywise, is right there. And he like runs towards them, and then it fades out,
We
right?
all know
Yes.
it's gonna pop. Like everyone knows.
Oh,
it's gonna pop.
I knew it was
yeah.
going to pop.
But
Yeah.
it's still so scary.
It is, yeah, the atmosphere, man.
It was this scene where I realized that like all the people in Derry are like very hardworking, and I'm super lazy because like if I was trying to make a boat, like I wouldn't go down the basement to get wax. If I was like chasing kids to bully them, I wouldn't go into a sewer or even down the hill.
No, yeah.
I'm like a super lazy person apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there wasn't Netflix or Xbox back then. Like, if you wanted to train for Street Fighter, you had to go down to the arcade. It's just a different time.
Yeah, Mikey.
Don't beat yourself up, Mikey. Yeah, so Patrick Hockstetter gets got. So then we're at the drugstore, back at the drugstore, and they're trying to buy all of this first aid material.
And they're trying to find out they don't have enough money to buy it all. And
Yeah.
they're like,
They
don't you
literally
have an account?
$3.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're kids. Like, they don't have money. What grade are they in? Sixth?
6th, 7th,
They're
8th
middle
grade,
school
somewhere around
aged,
there, yeah.
right? I don't know exactly how old they are,
It's
but middle
believable
school
that
age.
they don't have money. Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't have jobs.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they mostly
Derry's a
are.
hard working town, man. Blue collar town.
Mike has a job.
He does have a job.
Who's Mike?
The guy who kills sheep.
Mike's not in the scene right now, though. Maybe if Mike were around, he could have bought
Also,
them the first
Mike
day product.
doesn't have a job. That's not
Well,
Mike's
that's true.
job.
He's probably not getting
That's
money
Mike's
for it.
family. They're making him do that for free. Those
are
are
his
chores,
chores.
Mikey.
Yeah.
It's child labor.
Yeah, it is child labor.
That's child
It's
labor.
disgusting. Anyway.
Well, hot take from Tom.
Yeah, so
Tom and I
anyway.
both really didn't like chores as kids.
No,
apparently.
fuck chores. Anyway, so they're buying first aid stuff for Ben.
Yeah.
And this is where we see Bev buying feminine hygiene products.
She's contemplating which ones to buy.
She seemed nervous. This could be like her first time buying it.
Yeah, maybe she's not exactly sure what to do. And we don't ever see her mom in the movie.
I
so-
assumed that her mom left or died or something.
her mom is in the book, but
Oh, is she?
Yeah, but they don't mention her in the movie, and she's not a big part. So yeah,
Yeah,
think
I
it's
don't
smart
think
to just-
she needs it.
that to say nobody's really helping her. No woman is really helping her figure this out. And I love how this happens. And let's just talk now. The kids in this movie just have the best chemistry with each other. And like the funny beats with the kids are just so nice and heartwarming, because I love when she goes and she sees
hides it
them
behind her back,
and she
yeah.
hides it behind their back. And then Eddie like drops one of the things in his hand.
Yeah.
And it's just so
the
sweet.
timing on that was perfect.
It
yeah.
really was. And it just like, I love it.
Can we talk about the pedophile pharmacist? I did
Mr.
not like
King.
this at all.
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable. But she flirts with him. She uses those
She uses it.
feminine wiles and like steals his glasses, and then while handing them back knocks
Oh,
over display
you look like
clearly
Clark
on
Kent.
purpose. Yeah.
You look like Lois Lane.
Yeah, and like looking her up
Gross.
and down.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. I would hate to be like, hey, I got a part in a movie. What are you? Sort of a pedophile pharmacist?
Yeah.
But it's my big break.
Yeah, it's my big break.
yeah. But he just looks so.
Pedophile, yeah.
I mean, he does a good job. The actor who does that does
yeah.
a good job, but you're not supposed to like that character for
No,
sure.
you're not.
But anyway, that's what gets the kids out of there without paying for the first aid stuff.
Yeah.
And she steals some cigarettes and
She
leaves
does,
too.
yeah.
So they're in the alley fixing up Ben. And Richie's like pretending like he knows how to do first aid. And he's like, you got to suck on the wound.
I love Richie.
Richie's the best,
He
man.
is really funny.
But this is where you first see Ben. Well, maybe not first, because they happen a little bit at the school too, but you really see that Ben has a crush on
Yes.
Bev. Yeah.
And Bev is cool too. Like, I don't think she really is interested in Ben, but she could make
No,
fun
she's
of him
interested in
about
Bill, clearly.
Oh yeah. But she could like call him out about New Kids stuff, but she's not. She's cool, you know? Okay, so the next thing we see is Bev at home with her dad. And this is the first time we see her dad, and her
Dude,
dad is
I-
super creepy.
How about another part where you're like, guess what, honey? I'm a pedophile stepdad.
Yeah.
No, I think
Oh,
It's her
legit
actual dad.
Yeah, legit
Yeah,
dad.
yeah, and he's like smelling her hair and asking, "Are you still my little girl? I worry about you, Bev." He's
Man,
very protective, and
Yeah, because he found out that she had the feminine products.
oh, did he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's a little more overt in the movie, but it is definitely creepy in the book.
I mean, it is. You're not supposed to like him.
No, not
from
at all.
Jump street, you know what he is immediately. And the guy who plays that character does a great job.
Yeah.
But I would hate to be that guy.
So
I would hate to show up on set that day and being like, my daughter in the movie, it's great to meet you. Hey, I'm very sorry for everything I'm about to say to you. Like,
Yeah.
it would be just a horrible, awkward. I would hate that.
yeah.
With her parents off scene, like,
Yeah.
like shaking their head at you, and you're like, I just,
Yeah.
I'm
So
being
sorry.
paid for this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really this person.
Yeah, I'm not really this person, but I do feel like when I go home, I'm gonna have to go walk around my neighborhood and explain in accordance with Megan's law. I have to tell you that I live 3 houses down.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, Bill Skarsgård was really worried about like how he would be interacting with the kids and if he was really terrorizing them. He wasn't.
Yeah, I mean his acting is pretty bad in a lot of roles, but I think he did all right with this. I don't think he terrorized anyone in this movie.
So the dad is smelling Bev's hair, and then she goes into the bathroom and cuts it all off.
Yeah, she doesn't have to like get away from him like she does later. Like he just leaves her alone,
Yeah.
right? And that's when she goes into the bathroom and like is visibly shaken and just like
And
cuts
crying.
all of her hair. Yeah, I mean she's been sort of molested. Ugh.
Yeah, it's definitely inappropriate. He's crossed a line, regardless of
And it
whether
seems like a
he
line
touched
he
her.
has crossed before.
Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
knows. Okay, so then we go back to the swimming at the quarry. So they're all just standing in their tidy whities and they're spitting off the edge of this cliff.
I was around the 80s, as were you, Todd, and we all had bathing suits, right?
Yeah, I had bathing suits. That did make me uncomfortable. Like, there's no one who has a bathing suit in Derry.
This is one of those things that I think works better if the movie was set in the 50s because I could see it then.
Yes.
And it's very Stand By Me.
Because also,
It is very
when
Stand
I
By
was
Me,
that age,
yes.
There was definitely G.I. Joes on my tidy whities.
That's true. Not all tidy whities were just white.
I think I may have had like He-Man or like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had all of them.
But they're trying to like delay jumping off because
Yeah,
it's
'cause
clear
they're all
that-
scared.
Yeah, but they're trying to like mask it by having this spitting contest, and then Bev shows up, strips down to her underwear, and they're like mesmerized, trying to hide their miniature boners.
Yeah.
As she runs by them and just jumps off like it ain't shit.
She fears nothing.
No, I mean
No.
honestly, if you grew up like that, yeah, I wouldn't fear anything.
Exactly. If you're growing up in that house that she lives in.
The only thing you're afraid of is being home, which is where you should
Exactly.
be your safe space.
Right. And I love this part when they're swimming and they're doing like the chicken fights in the water. And it's just so sweet.
It's great.
It really is.
Yeah, I really love it. I
Yeah.
felt bad for anyone who didn't have Bev on their neck, though, because they had mini peen in the back of their neck.
This was a sweet scene, and you could tell the chemistry between her and Bill was growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that Ben saw it. Yeah. But
and
I
Ben's
mean,
like, why am I the fat one?
well, but he doesn't ever seem like mad at Bill jealous. He just kind of seems like disappointed.
I don't think he's
you
mad
know?
at Bill.
No,
No,
I don't think so
he's
either.
mad at Bill.
He gets
mad
it.
at his lot in life.
Bill is tall, thin, and somewhat handsome for a child.
Yeah, well, and I mean, he's like the natural leader of their
Tone it
group
down.
too. But yeah, I love this scene because they are all just getting along, and it seems really innocent. And they're just.
I
having
feel like this
fun,
is the
you
scene
know?
that solidifies them as friends, even though Mike isn't there yet, right?
There's another. Yeah, yes.
But I feel like that's the scene that solidifies those that group.
Well, Mike
Yeah.
gets
As
short. He
friends.
doesn't come into like the third act. Basically.
No, I know. I mean, because he doesn't come in until they save him from the bully.
Yeah, in the rock fight, which we'll talk about in a minute.
And I think
did
that-
they call themselves the Losers Club at this point.
I don't know if they did in the movie, but in the book they do.
Yeah, I think that they don't call that until Mike joins. But
They don't say the Losers Club very much in the movie.
I think
at all.
they call it when Mike joins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, welcome to the Losers Club. But anyway, so I think that is the scene that solidifies that group as the Losers Club.
Yeah, I think so. In the
Because
movie
that's
it
when they
does.
start hanging out daily and they're just doing whatever they do together.
It's
Yeah.
like when you go on a road trip with like your like dorm friends in college, and then like you become best friends afterwards.
Yeah. And so they're swimming and they find something. They say, oh, there's something under the water. And I swear I thought it was going to be a leech because it's very Stand By Me, but it's a turtle. And the only reason I mention that is because turtles are going to probably be significant in the next movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's a slight turtle theme in this movie. So, anyways, the next thing we see is.
Was it Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, Leonardo?
No, but Raphael is my favorite.
Raphael's my favorite.
Yeah.
Raphael's your favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? He's the oldest.
Which one were you? Like,
Raphael's not the
Michelangelo,
oldest.
right?
Leonardo's the oldest.
Nope, he's the leader.
which one? Wait. Are you like
Raphael
are
is
you
the
a
oldest.
are you a Donatello fan?
Yeah, I am.
No.
I called it. God.
He's the best.
Donatello?
You've never seen my ball snap skills.
Anyways.
Anyway.
So they get out of the water, and this is where Ben starts telling them the story of the town.
But first, we got Bust a Move playing, and all the boys are just standing there
Oh,
trying to
they're
hide
like
their
staring at you. Yeah, it's like a semicircle around Bev who's sunbathing,
Yeah.
which as a ginger, you would not do.
yeah.
As someone who semi-exclusively only dates gingers, if you go to the beach or like any kind of lake or whatever, if you're standing in direct sunlight without sunscreen, that's a ginger emergency.
Oh, yeah. You're going to turn into.
Yeah.
My brother and mother have red hair.
Oh, yeah? She's single? What's her deal?
She actually is single.
Nice.
Stay away from my mother, Todd.
No
but my brother
promises, Mikey.
tans. He's like one of the rare breeds.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's your half brother, right?
No, he's my full brother.
Fine.
Allegedly the same parents.
Let's just say this. If I bought you and your brothers 23andMe for Christmas, would your mom get real mad?
No. Out of both my parents, my mom's definitely the one that probably didn't cheat.
So what happens next, Jen?
Well, so they're swimming at the quarry, and this is when when she opens her eyes, and they all just are like, "Ooh, nothing happened."
They try and hide their
They're fine.
boners, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and this is when they start talking about the town, and
The
Ben
history of the
starts to
town.
let them know what's going on.
They're
Yeah.
going through his backpack and they see his like research folder on dairy murder.
They also see the postcard.
Yes, because I think Richie has gone through and called Ben a nerd for books, and is looking.
I'm so
like
Richie.
someone
I am
else we know.
1000% Richie. I'm not a book nerd.
Yeah, because Richie's like, so you just like went to the library and like read about stuff?
I do like how Ben is 100% like, well, I didn't know anybody yet. I don't have anything to do. And the internet doesn't exist. And I'm a little bit too young for porn. So, yeah, the library is really the only
Not
option for
too young
me.
for porn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We'll get back to that. We'll
So
get back to
anyways,
that.
he's telling the story of the town, and he's saying that the town has like 6 times the murder rate of anywhere else in the
And
country.
that's just the adults, Jen.
Yeah,
right,
the kids are
exactly,
much,
and
much,
it's
much worse. Yeah.
for
Well, you
kids.
saw earlier in the film that there was a big sign that says curfew at 7.
Yeah.
So I wish we went into more of like, in Scream where the town kind of like is all freaked out about the murders. I wish we went to a little bit more about that with Derry.
The book does.
At least in the movie. I'm not a book nerd, Jen, but in the movie,
Are you a nerd for books?
it seems like the only people who are affected by the murders are the direct parents of the kids. Like,
Yeah, the town's pretty nonchalant.
Yeah.
They put a sign up that says don't go out after 7 and then like
and then
good
that's
luck.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we saw that mom show up at the beginning looking for Betty Ripsom's mom with the cops waiting to see if her daughter would come out of school or something. But yeah,
Right.
yeah, the town doesn't seem on high alert. And that's part of the theme of the town. This is just something that happens,
Yeah.
you know? And it does. The book goes into a lot more detail about that.
Fair enough.
But so now Ben he's like, well, I got so much more of this back in my room. And so they all go back to his room. But he
And he
quickly
rushes
runs-
into the room and picks up 3 magazines, throws them in his closet, and then closes the door and leans on the closet door.
He also like straightens up a bit. I really related to the scene.
Yeah.
Not the porn part because I have like the internet.
Because the
He's not
internet
lazy.
exists. Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's just like you're like unexpectedly, like if a date goes well unexpectedly, or like you're having like somebody
Yeah.
come over, you're like, oh my god, don't think I live this way.
Gotta go clear your browser history real quick before they come in.
You're not going to let them use your computer, Jen.
No,
What are you-
I just take her purse and throw it as far as I can, then run in and straighten up.
Why do you throw her purse?
So she has to go get it and then come back. I get like 30 seconds to clean the house before they get inside.
But why would she come back?
I
after you threw her
I would go
purse?
get my purse and
Because if you
leave.
truly love something, you throw her purse, and then if they come back, it's like true love, right?
something or someone.
Whatever. Float your
think-
boat, Georgie.
Every episode, I feel like we get just a little more of the why Mikey is single puzzle.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah.
This date's going well. Throw your purse away. You passed the test. And my kitchen is clean.
Why are all your dishes in the trash can?
It's just paper plates.
Oh my
I
god.
use paper plates too. He has like things stapled or like
He's
sticky
got
tacks
like
to the room.
red string all across.
He looks
his
like
room.
Charlie Day conspiracy theory from
He does.
It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, he's got the Claire Danes from Homeland board on his
Yes.
wall of dairy history. And he's laying out all the stuff and he's like, this is this history. This is the black spot. This is the Kitchener Ironworks. All of the things he's mentioning are detailed stories in the book. So if you're curious, well, everybody should read the book. But so he's laying out the history of the town. And this is Richie's like, it started out as a beaver trapping colony. And Richard's like, it still is. Am I right? boy?"
Yeah, am I right, boys? I really feel connected to Richie as a character. Yeah.
Did you feel connected when they all rolled their eyes and refused to give him a high five after he said that too?
I would have high-fived on that. I thought the Beaver Town
Damn
was a
right
good
you
joke.
would've.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Boom.
Nailed it.
The next thing that happens is we see Eddie walking home, and he's walking by the house on Niebald Street, which is the old, creepy, rundown
Oh,
house.
yeah, this is
that
when
Todd
Eddie sees it,
questions
yeah.
why it was not burned down 20 years
It's
ago.
basically the house from Monster House. Like the
Yeah,
kids movie,
it's basically what Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub wrote in Monster House.
Or is Monster House the house from It.
Well, it's not, because a monster house, the house itself is a monster.
Is it?
Is
Yeah.
Monster House a monster movie?
I could probably get Dan Harmon on the
What
podcast.
is the definite? Who's Dan Harmon?
Really?
Wow.
He created Community. He created Rick and Morty. He wrote
yeah.
Monster House with Rob Schraub.
All right, so Eddie drops all of his pills out of fanny pack number 2 onto the ground. He starts to pick them up, and then we see creepy, gross hands creeping over and picking one of the pills up. When we look up and we see the leper.
I
do.
thought this was real scary. I thought he looked real good.
Yeah, I thought he looked creepy as hell, man.
I would have preferred an actual actor.
I
to do
couldn't
this.
tell he was a leper. I thought he was a zombie.
This leper is pretty scary.
Yes, and he's chasing him around and chases him into the backyard, and then
Oh, yeah. I thought for a second he was going to run into the house. And when he turned left and went around the house, I was like, all right, you shouldn't have gone in the yard, but at least you're not going in the house.
Well, I think it was trying to scare him into the house.
Me
Yes.
too. Me too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this kid was too smart.
yeah,
Eddie, no
Eddie.
dummy. He may be a hypochondriac, but that ain't his fault. That's his mom's fault.
Yeah, true.
His deceptively fat's mom's fault. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So Eddie sees Pennywise in the yard.
With the pyramid, like the reverse
Upside
pyramid
down
of.
pyramid of red balloons.
Yes.
Yeah, covering his face. And then it slowly reveals his face by the balloon. And I really liked how the shot looked. I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool. And then he like screams and runs away and he hears the balloons pop and he turns back around and he's gone. You sort of hear feet running away too, like Pennywise is running away.
And
Yeah.
You see, and you see the balloon pieces falling
Yeah.
slowly, which I thought was creepy.
But then
yeah.
Ed runs away.
And this is around
As
the.
you should.
Yes!
Yes, you definitely should run away. Okay, so then we see Bev. She's gotten her postcard in the mail and she's reading her postcard and it's got the sonnet on it.
And we know at this point it's from Ben
Yes.
because we saw that in his bag when Richie was going through the bag. But Bev doesn't know who it's from because
Right.
it's just signed Your Secret Admirer.
Yes. And I just love this sonnet. It's so sweet. And I love that Bev just loves her so much. Really
So
love
this
taking
whole
pictures.
movie has like a weird pedophilia vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And it reminds me of the Stranger Danger song I learned in elementary school that I'll never forget, which is my body's nobody's body but mine. You control yours. Let me control mine. And it's all about stranger danger and like no one should touch you. And these kids should have like learned this song.
Okay, so Bev's reading her postcard in the bathtub, and then she starts to hear whispering from the sink.
Oh, I
Thompson,
hated this
That's
part.
not a real sink.
Yeah.
Sinks don't whisper.
They don't whisper, Jen.
That's right. It's a fake evil sink. So she looks down into the drain. She starts hearing it.
Get closer.
Yeah, Betty Ripson and Eddie Corcoran and
Probably Georgie.
Patrick Hochstetter. I don't think she actually hears Georgie, but all of the kids from the book, all of their names.
But then she
are
goes and gets the tape measure because her dad's asleep and not molesting her at this point. So he goes, grabs the tape measure. Sorry, she goes and grabs the tape measure and like drops it all the way down, like 28 feet or whatever it
yeah,
says.
I think
This
it goes
is-
all the way down as far as it can.
This is
Yeah.
not what I would do in this situation.
No,
I would just leave the bathroom.
I would move to Portland.
I get it.
So yeah, she pulls it all the way down and it still hasn't stopped. So she starts to pull it back up and then eventually it starts coming out with blood on it.
Like it's a dipstick for like checking your oil.
Yep.
Except the oil's blood. And also there's hair connected to it. Hair you cut off earlier
Yeah.
and let go down the drain. Oh, and that hair starts to grab you and pull you into the drain and scare the fuck out of Todd.
Yeah. And
I
pulls
hated
her,
this scene.
her face right up to the drain and then just spews blood all over the bathroom.
Like literally paints every inch of the bathroom in blood.
Yes.
It's
It's gross.
it's
And-
real gross.
Yeah.
Like she's head to toe covered in it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
There's blood and there's hair everywhere, and it's just girls' bathrooms, man.
And this is actually in the book too.
This is their first period.
No, but it is using what you're most afraid of.
Yeah.
Against you, and what she's most afraid of is hitting puberty, so her dad's going to start raping her. Then
Did he wait? So did he not molest her before?
no,
He's definitely ramping
he's
up to it.
preparing. Oh yeah, he hasn't
Yeah.
actually done anything.
Okay.
So
yet.
in my
That's
mind, he
why
has.
she's
So in my
afraid.
mind, he had
Yeah.
already molested her.
Oh no. I mean, I don't think it definitively says
It
in the
doesn't
movie.
in the movie.
the
It
book,
It just makes some implication.
in the book, he hasn't. But so that's why she's afraid, is because she knows it's coming. Because he's amping up. The older she gets, the more she starts to develop. You know.
Yeah.
God, that is
Yeah.
so scary.
So that's why that's her fear.
Yeah, I get it, man.
Okay, so she screams and he can't see it. The
Yeah, he
dad
comes in
yeah.
and he can't see any of the blood, even though she is covered in it. The room is covered in it. It's horrible.
Yeah, it is. It's gross. Okay, so the next thing we cut to Bill's house and we see water dripping from the ceiling onto this picture that he's drawing of Bev. And
Mom, the ceiling's peeing on me.
so he goes to get a bucket and sees the light from Georgie's room come on behind him, and he goes into Georgie's room,
This is when he grabs the Lego toy.
which is what? It's a turtle.
It's a turtle.
Oh, it is a turtle.
There are turtles all over his wallpaper. Yeah, which is, I hope it's going to be significant. I don't know exactly what the second movie's going to be, but it's significant in the book. So he's sitting on this bed and he's crying and he's really missing
Yeah, he's
Georgie.
sad. I get that.
Yeah, he
Jen,
is.
I'm prepared to make you a promise. I'm going to read the book before the second movie comes out.
Yay! Okay,
Oh,
it's
my
September
God.
6th, I think. So
Of this year?
of this year. Yeah.
Dang it!
Yeah.
You should not have promised that.
No,
It
why did I do that?
started.
I don't break promises. That's why I
Well,
never say that
hey,
word.
You book
Listeners,
nerd.
did you hear that? We're going to hold Mikey to this. I expect weekly chapter updates.
Mikey, yeah, I'm going to edit it out.
No, don't do that. No.
I got your back, bro.
No, I'm gonna do it.
All right.
I'm posting it before.
I'm gonna blog about it on the website.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my first read through.
So Bill is in and he sees the outline of Georgie in the door, and then we hear someone walking away. So he
We
gets up.
see that shadow walking away, too. Like, we see that.
Yeah, so we are walking down and we're going down to the stairs of the basement. So Bill is following Georgie down to the basement and trying to find him, and he's seeing these wet, muddy footprints going through his house too.
But like kid footprints, like what
Yes.
Georgie's footprints would look like.
And he goes down into the basement, which is flooded because it's raining a lot. He sees Georgie standing in the corner, and Georgie's saying, "You'll float too. You'll come float."
Okay,
This scene mess with me.
This is probably the scariest scene in the film, I think.
You think?
Yes.
All right.
And then also, is the basement flooded for real, or is it like a nightmare thing?
It's a nightmare thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's raining, so it's conceivable that there would be water in the basement, but it also could be.
I did think this was the scariest point of the film, let me tell you, because Georgie turns around and starts saying,
You'll all float too. You'll float down here. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too.
And then, but then it rises out and it's using him as a puppet.
And
his
like,
hands up
and it
him.
throws him into the water,
Yeah, and he disintegrates and then charges through the water at him. I thought that was so scary.
like shaking
Yeah.
and like, oh God.
It's effective.
Yeah.
I wish it hadn't been in the trailer though.
This part was in the
It
trailer,
was in
and
the
I
trailer.
watched the trailer recently for the Patreon, and
Now-
so there were a bunch of parts that were in the trailer that in the movie still really scared me.
That's
so.
true. And I cried when I watched this trailer. I just loved it so much. Well, we'll talk about that. So the next thing that happens is that Bev has called them all over to show them what's happening in the
I
bathroom.
think she wants confirmation that she's not lost her mind.
Exactly.
She's like, I think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Do you guys see this?
Yes.
And then they leave Richie down there for lookout because her dad's out, right? Her dad
Right.
would not let him in the apartment. And she's like, well, my dad would get mad if you were here. Can we leave a lookout? And they make Richie stay.
Because they know that he would not stop making period jokes the entire time they were cleaning all of that up. And I think they just don't want to hear it, you know?
I agree.
Well, they
I
clearly don't know that that's what was going on when she called them upstairs. So that's not what happened. Rude. I'm going to defend Richie.
I feel like Todd is
They just
feeling...
didn't want to deal with him overall.
Yeah.
Aw.
I
That's
get
not
that.
better.
Many people have done that to me. I get that.
Aw, I love Richie.
Jen and I are going to finish the podcast. We need you to be a lookout.
Yeah. We go see if that man's still running by outside.
Yeah.
You guys are dicks.
We're kidding, Todd. No. Richie is one of my favorite characters in the...
He really is just the only character worth paying attention to in the
I
book.
liked all of them.
I liked all of them too. Richie and Bev are my favorites.
I'm going to like
Mike
Bev in the
is third.
sequel for sure.
Jessica Chastain, Bev.
Ooh, Jessica Chastain could get it.
So they're cleaning the bath because the boys do see it.
Yeah.
And they help her clean.
Okay, so
And it's Bill's idea to clean it up. He's
Yeah.
like, we got to clean this up.
Yeah, Bill's the leader. He's like, we can't leave it like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Also, I think I would have kept some of this in a jar. Hear me out.
What?
This is blood adults can't see. This is primetime prank material. You could like put this shit everywhere and spell out words in class and stuff, and no one else. It's like invisible ink, but like creepy ghost blood.
It's like that sound that only people under a certain
Yeah.
age can hear. Yeah.
Like whistles that only dogs can hear.
Kind of like that. And then like you could just like write something in blood on someone's book. It's like, I'm gonna murder you. And they like run to show their parents like, what are you talking about? Nothing's in that book.
It is a real missed opportunity. You know?
That's where I would have done. That's why they left Richie outside.
I have said this before, and I'll say it
Richie
again.
totally would have done that, yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. But the dad doesn't come home, so Richie doesn't
doesn't.
have to be a lookout. But the next scene you see is them riding away on bikes.
No, the
wait,
next
talk
thing
about
we
more?
see
Sorry.
is Ben walking in, seeing that he's gotten the postcard and watching her interact with Bill.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And she thinks Bill sent it to her. Maybe, hopefully so, but yeah,
But
she
so
is.
she says January Embers, and he's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
She's like, poetry, and he's like, I don't speak poetry.
Yeah, what are you, a nerd for books?
Yeah, what are you, a book nerd?
What are you,
I
nerd for
also
poems?
stutter on paper.
Oh, jeez.
He does progressively stutter less and less and less.
Yeah.
His journey is a lot like the King's Speech.
Yeah. He is the King's Speech.
Yeah.
He's not a king, and there was a killer clown. He was a child. It's the same movie.
Mikey spent 5 minutes explaining this convoluted reference in the movie.
That's true.
I think at one point you were trying to explain how the clown was World War II.
That's true. Yeah.
Honestly, it checked out. At the end of it, it sort of made sense.
I know. I was on board.
I'm
Yeah.
actually going to publish an essay about this.
So they cleaned the bathroom and they're biking away, and this is when they start talking for the first time about the clown, and they've all
Everyone's sort of
have
sharing their
seen
experiences,
stuff.
yeah.
And the only one who hasn't really seen anything is Richie.
You're right. The only one who hasn't seen it yet is Richie. And
But it's funny because like everybody's like, I've seen this clown, and he's like, what are you guys talking about?
Right. Yeah, and he wasn't upstairs to see the blood either.
yeah, he has seen no supernatural-ish type stuff yet.
Yeah. But he was also really the one who was most on board with helping Bill find Georgie too. So I think he's never really pushing back against any of this. He's just
Oh,
like,
no.
He's
He
got
just hasn't seen
nothing
it.
else to do or any. He's like,
pardon me, he has a well thought out training regimen for Street Fighter, right?
He's real busy at that Arcadium.
I know. He's behind.
he doesn't want to do that. That's his fallback plan.
But anyway, they're biking away and they're talking about seeing the clown. And this is when they see Mike's bike with the meat kind of knocked over because he was
Next-
doing a delivery next to Baby Bacon's Trans Am. And they're like, we got to go help him.
Yeah.
And this is when they go down and Mike's getting the shit beat out of him by
Yeah, and
these
they're
three
like pushing
kids.
his face in the meat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
and
eat
then
the meat. Eat the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just start throwing rocks at them, and Mike kind of makes his way over to their side of the creek
Yeah.
or whatever,
Creek,
and then Richie goes, "Rock war!" and they just start throwing rocks across.
And these are not small rocks.
No, they're big
everyone could have
rocks.
died.
Oh yeah,
God, I'm such an adult now.
yeah,
Yeah.
But Bev starts to throw on the rocks. She starts that part of it.
She does. Well, so in the book, and this is one of the bigger problems that I have with the movie too, is because this is like a huge part of the book. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the book, and it's called The Apocalyptic Rock Fight. And it's a huge like war, and Henry's chasing Mike with firecrackers and like throwing those at him and almost getting him with some. And so they're throwing these rocks for a long time, and Mike walks over, and so you see him kind of going across the river. And what
Yeah.
you were saying about this is the scene that solidifies, like in the book they talk about, they all feel like something click into place when Mike joins him, because this is their group of 7, and the fact that there are 7 of them together makes them powerful against it. And I love this part of the book, and I just feel like the movie makes it a little more goofy, and it kind of bugs me.
I don't know. I feel like at this point, this is like a dry run for when they fight it. They all get over their fear of Baby Bacon. And they're like,
Yes.
fuck you. We're sick of your shit. Eat a rock sandwich, bitch.
Yeah,
and they just start.
bloodlust yelling. They're
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're getting hit with rocks too, but they're dishing it out
They are.
twice as hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And did you notice who the first one to get so mad was? It was Ben, because Henry said something mean about Bev, and he was
Yeah.
defending her honor. I liked it more in the movie this time, but it still is a little goofy for me. I wish it were more serious. But yeah, so that's the rock fight, and Henry just gets beat, and the other 2 or his friends run away, and this is when he kind of crosses over into I'm going to kill all of you.
He was already on his way to that, but I think that pushed him to that point.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. Now he's super pissed at all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So then they walk. They're in their line of Losers Club, and they're talking to Mike. And they all kind of know who he is because he's a kid their age in this small town. But
I'm sure he goes, well,
they
he's
call him the
homeschooled,
homeschool
but.
kid.
yeah, he
Yeah.
goes to homeschool.
And they refer to him as that before he joins their clique. So they know him.
And so they're at the parade, and Richie's just like has stolen someone's tuba while the rest of
I love Richie. He's the best.
He is. You just see him in the background while everybody else is talking. This is when they talk about the cycle, which is about a 27-year cycle. And all
Right.
of the things that I've been talking about that happen, the interludes, are just giant fucked up things that happen where lots of people die every 27 years. And it's always kind of a poison town, and the people in it does have a high murder rate, but every 27 years it really amps up and lots of shit goes down. And so then Mike tells his story, which I'm not crazy about because it is not at all like the book, but it's about his parents burning in the house next to him, which is kind of puts into context the burning hands that we see at the beginning. So the next thing we see is probably my favorite scene in the movie. It's the projector scene.
Fuck, I hated this
I
scene
love
so
this scene.
much.
I did too. This is not in the book at all, but I loved how they did
In the
this.
book, it's a book.
There's a similar scene that's in a picture book with just Richie and Bill, and that's the first time Richie actually sees anything.
Okay.
But yeah, and that's in the mini series. But yeah, this projector scene is not at all well in the book. But so the projector scene, they're putting up the map of the Derry sewer. They're connecting all of the dots from the cycle, and they're saying, well, they're all connected to our sewer system.
Right. And
Yeah.
what they've done is they put up the map from when Bill was looking for Georgie in the first few scenes, right? The dad pulled it down, but he put it back up. And then they're projecting like the old town sewer system over that map.
Oh, and they talk about how this town was founded in the Beaver Town or whatever.
Yeah, it was.
And everyone, and everyone was slaughtered. And the only clue they found was blood and ripped up, torn clothes by the well.
Yeah, heading
Yeah.
towards the well.
house. Uh-huh.
Yeah, the well house. I think they actually talk about that in Ben's room, but yeah, the well house is a significant point. That's like a focal point.
Well,
in
because
a
when
lot
they
of
match
this.
up the maps, they say this is where this happened, this is where that happens, and it all
And that's
leads
the
to the
well
well
house.
house, which is the monster house.
Right.
Yeah, and so then Eddie is like, okay, I've had enough of this. It's supposed to be summer. And so he pulls the screen off, and then we start to see the pictures flash, and it's Bill's childhood photos with Georgie in them. And then it starts to go really, really quickly, kind of like one of those animation turn the pages books, and the mom's hair starts to peel back, and it's Pennywise. And I love how this happens.
I hated this
They
so
try
much.
to turn it off, and then it's just black, and it's projecting on the screen, and then it's black, and it's projecting on the screen, and then it's black, and then Pennywise's face is really close, and then the next time it projects, he's gone, and then the next time it projects, he busts out of the screen, and he's really big, and he's trying to get all
Oh
of
my
them.
God. I lost my shit at this point.
Is this the one we posted?
I think
think
it
so.
was.
I think
I was
so.
so scared. Oh my God.
It was
I
a
was
scary scene.
Yeah, this is
It was.
very scary. I think this is the most scared I was at the movie, but there were so many jump scares in this. I hated it so much.
This was a very jump scare movie, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is my favorite scene in the movie. And so Ben saves the day by opening the door. And so Bev gives him a nice little thank you pat on the shoulder, and then just goes and hugs Bill because he's her true love.
I get it, man. But yeah, this is one of the most scary moments for me. I hated it so much.
Yeah, so they go back to the house on Neibolt Street now, and they're going to try.
Well, yeah, because Bill gives a big pep talk about how he's like, what if other kids go missing? If we do nothing, we're choosing to murder other kids.
Yeah,
if we
because everyone's
don't
like,
act."
fuck this, we're done. I'm not going to do this again. It's going to be fine. In 27 years, it's someone else's problem. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
we'll be old and out of here. I don't want to stay in this town. And that's,
Yeah.
But Bill's like, we got to go now. We got to stop this thing.
He gives his Independence Day Bill Pullman speech, and he's
Yeah.
like, okay, who's with me? And he's like, who wants to go in, or who wants to stay outside and be the lookout? And everybody but Bev raises their hand.
Mike?
Bill, Richie, and Eddie are the only three that go into the house
Yeah.
originally. So they're going up, and there's a lot of stuff that kind of happens.
It's a freaky haunted house.
It really is, and it's
Yeah.
gross. And so the first thing that we see is Richie sees a missing poster that has his name, his face, and
Yeah,
his
that's like
name
right
on
when
it.
they go inside the house.
And this
yeah,
is the
it's
first
so
time he's
scary.
really seen anything.
No, he saw the projector and he goes,
Oh, that's
because
right.
when Pennywise pops on the projector, he's like, what the fuck is that? That's what you guys have been seeing?
Oh, yeah,
Which
yeah.
was a really funny moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go upstairs and they get separated. And
Yeah, they each get separated into their own rooms.
and
And
Eddie,
Eddie's first, right?
yes, Eddie gets trapped and he just sees the floor open up, and then Pennywise behind him. I think it's Pennywise, or it might be the leper, but whatever it is,
It's
it,
a leper, yeah.
Yeah, it knocks him through.
But it's
the,
Pennywise.
No,
I mean,
he doesn't
it's
knock-
always Pennywise,
Well, yeah.
no matter who it is.
It
Yeah.
doesn't knock him down. He just passes out and falls.
Oh, that's right, because there's a hole that's opened up in the floor, and he
Right.
falls
He's
through.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
And
he
he-
falls onto a table and breaks his arm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It breaks the table.
And then Richie and Bill go in. I think Richie goes into this creepy clown room. And
Oh,
this
my
this
God.
is another really scary part.
I hated this.
Because it's like statues with sheets all over them, and then the door closes and he turns around and all the sheets have fallen off, and it's just
Super
all kinds of
effective.
clowns.
Scary.
And then as he
Yes.
walks, and then there's
Clowns.
a coffin, and the coffin opens, and it says "found" on it.
Uh-huh.
And as he walks towards the coffin, all the clowns, like they're just dolls, right? So they're just
Uh-huh.
staying there, and then one of them turns their heads and follows him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it
And
wasn't like
was.
jump scary, but it was eerie, and I hated it.
And then his missing person is in the middle of that found
Yes.
word.
Right. And then in the coffin is covered in black sheep, but when he pulls it off, it's like a marionette of him with like maggots in his face.
Yeah.
Good craftsmanship on that marionette.
Oh, yeah.
I hate you all.
And then so he closes the casket, and then Pennywise jumps out of it and stands on top and runs at him. And then Bill opens the door and pulls him out. The next thing we see is they see a creepy mattress, and then Eddie's head pops up inside
shit.
the mattress.
Yeah,
and they
you're
start
right.
to see this black ink stuff creeping across to them.
And it's like burning like leaves, like lava.
Kind
It's-
of like acidy.
And then they do like a
What's behind door number 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah,
it
Lady or
says,
the Tiger.
Not scary at all, scary, and the most scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go to Not Scary at All.
And they never watched Let's Make a Deal because they picked Not Scary at All, which is obviously the most scary.
Duh.
Oh, yeah, they're trying to throw him off because they open it and they see Betty Ripson without her legs just hanging from a hook. And so then they slam it and they say, "Ah."
What happened to her legs?
He does really say a lot of what I imagine you were
Yeah.
thinking in these scenes.
I just like that he had the presence of mind to make a joke during that time.
Yeah, Bill's
Right.
trying to escape. He's like, come on now.
Yeah, he's like, it's not,
Lock it up, Richie.
it's
why we
not
left you
real.
outside.
It's not real. Yeah. And in the book, they say beep, beep, Richie all the time. And that's
Yeah.
what it means. But it's like an endearing thing then. But we did hear Pennywise say beep, beep, Richie when he jumps up on top of the casket.
But this is when it cuts down to Eddie downstairs, who's got a broken arm on top of the table that's broken on the
Yeah, he
floor.
wakes up at the table, looks at his arm. It looks bad.
Yeah, it looks real bad.
Yeah. And we see the refrigerator open and Pennywise is
Like
all,
contortion himself out of it.
yeah, and he kind of crawls out and he's about to start eating Eddie.
Another super creepy scene.
Oh,
Him
yeah.
coming out
When
of
he
the
starts to
fridge,
like,
untangling from the fridge, it's super creepy.
when he starts to like play eat him. Like
Oh,
he's,
yeah.
Like he's like, but not actually biting him, but like making like he's going to bite him out. That was,
Yeah, and
I
he's-
couldn't.
I can't remember what he exactly says at this point, but he's like, the fear makes the person he's eating taste better.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid.
Duh.
I just want to see Iron Chef and have them wheel out like these things. The secret ingredient is fear.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, Town Boy.
Oh, no.
That's a
Ugh,
different
yeah.
show. And so then Bev, who has come into the house, but we don't know, like smashes in the face and I think rams a post.
Yeah, through his head.
Impales his head.
Yeah, and he's swinging it around, and this is the second time Ben's belly gets cut because the
Yeah.
thing is slashing him. Yeah, in the book, it's a werewolf's claw.
Well, he grows the werewolf's claw, and then
Yeah.
he does grow the werewolf's claw in his hand. He's slashing around. He hits Ben again, and then what I like this sequence because the bleeding out of his head is in slow mo. Parts of it are in slow motion, but he's also moving in full speed. It looks really unsettling.
Yes, it is very, and that's when you're like, okay, what
This
exactly
movie does a great job with
this?
its effects, capturing a creepy feel.
Yes,
Both
yes.
sides of Ben's stomach have been fucked up. He's got an
right.
H scar on one side and werewolf claw scar on the other side.
I do like that they did the werewolf claw because in the book, one of the monsters is the werewolf from like I Was a Teenage Werewolf, the movie from the 50s. So I like that they put that little werewolf claw in. And so they fight him off. So sometimes I'm thinking, well, he's just leaving, but it's like the power of them all being together gives them strength to kind of overpower him. Because kind of like Freddy Krueger, he's like a monster of him. Like your imagination makes him more powerful.
Yeah.
But your imagination also is what can help defeat him.
And then they keep fighting him, and then it retreats because they're like, "We're not scared of you." So then Bill's like, "We're gonna have to kill this thing," because Bill's kind of a badass.
Bill is a
he's the leader.
badass.
So he chases it down to the basement, which just shows you how much he's conquering his fears.
I think he just follows it down to the basement.
He does, but what it shows you is this is where it goes.
The
And that's-
well house is in the basement.
yeah, the whole time. Yeah, so now they know later on they're going to know where to go to try to follow him to his
Also,
lair.
go back to the police thing. There's blood and ripped clothing all around the well. You think the police would have searched the only abandoned house in town for
You see
missing
the
kids?
only cop in this movie, though?
Yeah, there's one cop, and he does not give a fuck.
No, he doesn't.
Oh yeah.
So they go out onto the street and we see Eddie's mom who's wearing a pillow stuffed under her tracksuit.
I hated her fat
To
suit.
denote that she is fat. And she's mad at everybody. She blames them for Eddie's broken arm. She puts Eddie in the car and they all start fighting with each other. And this is when.
Can't you see this is what it wants?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to come together. And Bill and Richie, like, actually, one of them punches the other one in the face.
I think Richie punches Bill.
Yeah, they get into a fight. I don't like this part because they turn on each other and I don't like it. And then we have their alone montage where everybody is doing their own thing and it shows they're all sad. This is
It's
the
also the name of my autobiography.
alone montage. Oh, the Mikey story. Just looking for a publisher. So then we see August and Henry Bowers is taking his dad's gun and trying
And trying to murder the cat.
Is he shooting at the cat?
Yes.
Oh,
he
I
was
didn't notice
saying,
that.
and then with the Humpty or Dumpty picked up the cat and he was like, just hold it still. Just hold it still.
Jeez, is it the
Yeah.
same cat that watched Georgie's arm get
No,
eaten off
that's
at the
a different
beginning and
woman's
didn't
cat,
tell?
yeah.
Oh, that's another cat.
Cats don't have the power of speech. Plus, they don't give a fuck. So this is when we see Baby Bacon is like losing his mind, trying to murder
Mm-hmm.
a cat, and then his dad walks out, and we learn why he is that way.
Yeah, 'cause
I
Daddy
learned it from
Bacon-
watching you, Dad.
Yeah, Daddy Bacon is law
100%,
enforcement.
And he's like, "What are you doing with my gun?" "Oh,
I'm cleaning it
He's
by
like,
shooting it.
he grabs the gun and then starts shooting at the feet of his son.
Yeah.
Super scary. And then Baby Bacon's like crying. He's like, I actually like this line.
I
wanna
like
use
this
it as
line
an
too.
intro."
Yeah,
He's like, look at it, boys. This is how fast a paper man can crumble.
when they're faced with fear.
Yeah, when the face
Oh,
was
yeah.
here.
I mean, it's a horrible guy delivering a cool line.
I mean, it's a cool
Yeah.
line.
yeah.
I mean, it kind of tells us partly why Henry is the way he is because
Yeah.
it's very kick the dog, you know? So the next thing we see is there's Henry is sad and embarrassed next to the card. So then he looks up and he sees there's a red balloon on his mailbox and he walks over and
He's like, did Dad remember my birthday?
No, he didn't, but Pennywise did.
he did, yeah. Finds the switchblade that he had left in the woods. And then he goes inside and his dad's watching this TV show. We've been seeing the TV show through the movie.
Well, his dad's asleep, but the TV's on.
Yeah. And it's this like weird.
It's like a kid's show, yeah.
Yeah, but all the adults are watching it. And so the the lady is like, it's okay, Henry, you can do it. Kill
Kill
him.
your dad.
Kill him. And so he walks up and he puts the switchblade against his neck and he just pushes the button and like kills his dad. Bleeds all
And you
over
see
the place.
Pennywise on the TV saying, kill him, kill him,
with like
kill
the
him,
bouncing
kill
ball
him.
of like
yeah.
a kid show.
No, then
yeah,
it says
it's
kill them
creepy.
all.
Oh, kill them all. That's right, that's right,
Well,
that's
because
right.
he's killed his dad now, and now Pennywise is telling him to go kill the losers.
And I thought this scene was very effective. Super
Mm-hmm.
creepy. The way it was shot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too.
I hated it. This isn't the kind of scary that really scares me, though. Like, it was really creepy and freaky, but it wasn't like a jump scare. So I
No, it wasn't a
appreciated
jump
this
scare.
type of scare.
Yeah, the more like unsettling, just dark
Yeah.
scariness. Yeah.
And then the boy's covered in blood for the rest of the movie, of his dad's blood.
Well, the rest of
Right.
his life, at least.
So then Bev is at home and she's trying to leave and she goes up to the door and this
The door is
creeped me out.
padlocked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's so scary.
And so the dad has found her postcard and is now like, "Are you still my little girl? I worry about you, Bevy."
I've been hearing that you've been hanging out with 6 boys. Are they making you do womanly things or whatever he says?
Now, to be fair, I would be concerned about my daughter hanging out in her underwear with a group of boys, but this is not the right way to handle it.
No.
Because what he does is straight up attacks her and she knees him. She
This is why I think he had done stuff to
that's-
her before.
'cause when he's talking about, I thought you're my little girl still,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It was making me feel real weird.
oh, yeah, it's supposed to. It's.
But it implied that he had touched her.
it might have in the movie. In the book, he is not, but this happens differently in the book, too.
I sort of like what she does to him, though, because
Oh, yeah.
she kicks him in the nuts and then in the face, which is sort of what Ben does on some level.
Mhm.
Anyway,
the
then-
nut shot and then the face kick.
yeah, and then she runs to the bathroom, locks the door,
Yeah.
and then he walks to the bathroom, realizes it's locked, kicks down the door, and she's nowhere to be seen. And then he walks to the
Shower curtain,
moves
yeah.
the shower curtain, and she breaks the fucking top of the toilet over his head.
Over his face, yeah. Yeah.
And then
which
she
is-
just leaves him bleeding onto the floor. Like, I hope he's dead.
Yeah.
They don't really address if he is or not in the
They don't.
movie, but
Yeah.
oh man, I hope he's dead.
I know. I do really like that they added this part because I think it's a little more nuanced in the book, but the extremity of what we see, I think, warrants what she does.
Yes.
Well, it also it kind of mirrors their fears. So like they all conquer their fears when they're in their separate areas to come back together. So
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, because they've fought it and they are okay. So I think it kind of like you get to a point where you don't want to take any more bullshit.
yeah, after a ghost clown tries to eat your face, you know.
And that carries on into the sequel or into the adult part. Like what they learn from fighting it is relevant to their characters in the future.
it's a real coming of age tale, Mikey.
It is. This is when I start to get frustrated because Bev has now. And we forgot to say after she smashes Dad in the face, Pennywise is right behind her
oh yeah.
and grabs her. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
tried
and
to-
takes her.
Yes.
It takes her. That is a big plot point. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's a plot point that I have a big problem with.
Because this is the beginning of the third act, more or less.
This is, yes. And the reason that it pisses me off, because the next thing that happens is all the boys get together and they have to go save Bev. And this part of the story takes her agency away and makes her the damsel in distress. And in the book, she is just as much a warrior through all of this. And she's the one who is the best at the slingshot and she's taking a lot more charge. And I just hate that she becomes the person that they have to go rescue.
Now, do you
What
think
starts
they-
the third act in the book then?
They just go find him again. They go
Oh, okay.
fight him again.
But I think they changed it because the miniseries had all that and they wanted it to be different.
Well, I think the actual reason they changed it is because they took the bonding scene out, which is the part where she...
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So in the book, there is a very controversial part where Bev, it happens after they have defeated Pennywise the first time and they're all lost in the sewer. And this is when they do actually start to turn on each other. And if you've read the book, you know what happens. Bev sleeps with them all. It's meant to imply that she is unifying all of them. And I understand what Stephen King was going for, but it just kind of reduces her to the power of her vagina, and I don't like it, and I cannot believe it was actually ever published. But so I think the reason they changed it to this is because in the book, Bev is a unifier of all of them, and she is someone that they all come around and she kind of bonds them all together. And this is a different way of doing that without a super problematic plot point, which I'm glad they didn't put in this movie, and there's no way they could have, but it just annoys me that it took her agency away.
So they round up all the boys and they go to fight Pennywise.
Save her, yes.
Yeah.
And that just bugs me.
I see why they left it out.
I mean, there's no way this movie gets made with that in
I
there.
can't believe the book got published with that in it. So the boys all go down the well, and Mike is the last one to go down.
Yeah, they're like rappelling down through like a rope and pulley system. Yeah.
yeah.
So they all go down, and then Mike is the last one left up in the basement of the scary monster house.
Yes, and they're going down in the well, but then they're halfway down. They're going into a tunnel.
Yeah, it's not all the way down the
They're
well.
not going
'cause
all the way down.
all of it in the well seems to have no bottom.
Right.
But when we look back up at Mike, we see Baby Bacon behind him and is intent on killing Mike.
Yes.
And Mike has the sheep killer, the air gun clips or whatever.
But
right?
he doesn't have it on him. He has it behind him on the floor. And
Right.
Henry picks it up and is fighting with Mike and is about to just pop him in the head with it. Mike just kind of
At the very
diverts
last
it.
second, smacks it with his hand and it misses.
And so they fight for a bit, and all the boys are down at the bottom, and they can't get up because Henry's taken the
he took the rope
rope,
back
and they're
up.
just yelling, Mike, 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 and Mike's up there fighting, and then eventually knocks Henry all the way down.
Killing Henry.
We assume, but I mean, we have to assume because he falls all the way down to the bottom of the well, and we don't know how deep that well goes.
Adult Henry is in the sequel,
Oh.
so that doesn't necessarily mean he didn't die, and I don't know how they're going to resolve that.
So Mike falls down the well.
Yep.
They realize that Stan is missing. They turn around, Stan's been lured off. So
By
they're
Flute Lady.
like, yeah, by Flute Lady. So everyone's like, where's Stan? Where's Stan? Let's go find Stan. And then we find Stan, and Stan is like, it's like he's at like his first high school dance or maybe middle school dance. And his girlfriend's trying to kiss him, but she's using way too much mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like all over his cheeks. That's like the way the flute woman is like on his mouth.
Yeah.
Except teeth are like latched into his cheeks.
Yeah.
And he's just laying there like he's having this, like a Dementor's kiss on some level. Yeah.
And he's not really into it, but it's the first time he's ever kissed a girl, so he's not
Right.
sure if this is what it's supposed to be like. Or
He's like,
he's
what's
just-
all the
yeah.
hubbub about? This
Yeah.
hurts.
This
I
is
know.
horrible.
Like, I'm going to have burns on my face tomorrow.
Anyway, so the group of them scare Pennywise away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the flute lady who was Pennywise, and you see him go into like a drainage pipe,
Yeah.
and then like you see the hand stay there, and he ducks back as the flute lady, and then ducks back in
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
as
He's like,
Pennywise.
just kidding, it's me. Have you figured this out yet?
And I really like this too because Stan's like, you guys aren't my friends. Why am I down here? And he gets
Yeah,
is
you guys
really
left me. You guys left
upset.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, as he had a person almost eat his face off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be
he's
upset.
right. Yeah, he has also been the one for the beginning that has really pushed back against
Yeah.
all of this and is like, this isn't real.
But he did wander off. That's his fault.
well, yeah.
Yeah, but I think Pennywise is doing things to lure each of them off because
Yeah,
he's
but
trying
like-
to separate them like he did in the house. And right after this, at this point, that's when you see Georgie pulling Bill away. So Bill wanders off by himself, but they notice it and they get up and chase after Bill.
But
Yes.
come on, how many times do you learn your lesson of like, all this ghost stuff's trying to kill us? Why? Let's not wander off from the group.
They're kids, man.
Yeah.
No, they know.
No. I agree. If I had walked in on Stan, I'd been like, guys, Stan is dead. We got to go.
It's
I mean-
eating Stan. He shouldn't have wandered off. Take lesson, everyone.
Yeah.
Don't wander off.
Be an example.
Yeah.
Buddy system.
I don't think you would be in that sewer though.
No, honestly, if Bev had been taken, I'd have been like, hey, guys, Bev died. I'm moving.
Moving
Bye.
to Portland too. Okay, so then
You have a missing person, but it's just because you're a runaway.
Yeah, exactly.
Last scene at the bus station, no one knows what could have happened.
Yeah. Ticket sticking out
It
of
got him.
his pocket.
Freedom.
You know, that is my favorite color. And so then Eddie is wandering around and he's in the gray water. And this is Eddie's fear of gross germ stuff.
Oh, this
And
is
they
the
see all the
heads.
heads and the bodies start coming up. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it's yuck.
I'm out.
And so then, and we had forgotten the part where Bev wakes up in Pennywise's lair and sees him doing his little dance, and he picks her up and is like, and she said, "I'm not afraid of you," which, yeah,
You
she's
will be.
just like defied her dad who was trying to rape her. Then maybe a clown's not the scariest thing she's dealt with that day.
Yeah, but then his mouth becomes real 3 sizes so big.
Yeah, his mouth opens to reveal the deadlights.
3 lights.
Yeah, they hypnotize you, and you're in the deadlights. You're kind of in a half purgatory kind of space.
And they're
It seemed
floating.
like, okay, so that whole floating thing seemed like that was like a spider, like he would, when he spins them up in the web and then eats them later.
Yeah.
It seems like that was him storing up food for his hibernation for 27 years.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, actually, in
Okay.
the book, he does that. The floating thing is not in the book.
In the miniseries,
Really?
it is a spider, right?
Yes and no, because what it actually is in the book is something that our minds can't comprehend, but the form that is closest is a spider. So yes, it appears as a spider. And there's one part where where you can see the giant spider legs coming out of him at the end.
Yeah.
That's what that's referring to.
I gotcha.
I don't like spiders.
That's in the final fight
I
scene,
don't
which we're
either.
actually really close to right now.
We are, yeah. Stephen King doesn't like spiders either, and spiders pop up in a lot of his books. Okay, so then they go in and they see Bev hanging, and Bill tries to get him down, and then Bill sees Georgie standing over there and kind of wanders over there, but then the rest of the boys come and they pull Bev down.
Yeah, they get on someone's shoulder. Someone gets on someone's shoulders and pulls her
Ben gets
down.
on Mike's shoulders and
Yeah.
pulls her down, kisses her to bring her back to life.
Yeah, this is a reference to the Blood
Is-
Prince.
And I didn't catch that the first time I watched it.
Yeah,
I didn't
she's
catch that either.
She's reading that book, or I don't know if she's reading it,
You
but it's
did
on her
really
vanity.
well about like catching background
I
stuff.
always
Yeah,
do
you
very
do.
well.
But yeah, so he kisses Bev and saves the day with his love, and it's annoying, but
That's what guys do.
whatever.
Yeah.
So Bev comes back to life, and the day is saved for her. And then they realize, oh, hey, there's Georgie, and Bill's talking to Georgie, but I thought Georgie was dead.
Wait, what if Ben's biggest fear is kissing a woman? And that was his.
I mean, maybe kissing Bev. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because he's in love with
Yeah.
Bev.
He is,
I mean,
yeah.
the like 11-year-old love, like
Yeah.
So if you look at it in that context, it's a little less patriarchy.
I'm annoyed with what happens to Bev's character in this scene. Not so much Ben. I love Ben. Although he does kiss a woman who is unable to give consent, which is also not cool.
Janet brings her back to life. Let's move
let
on.
it go.
Yeah.
I mean, all right.
When he wakes her up with a kiss, that's when he talks about that he wrote the poem.
Yes. She says January embers.
Yeah.
And he says, my heart burns there too. Oh, it's so sad. The first part of that poem is the best. It says your hair is winter fire. And I just love that. I think it's so pretty. Because she's a redhead.
I mean, I know. I'm super into redheads.
You should
take it
write
home.
her a sonnet.
I'm not going
Don't.
to plagiarize Stephen King. I'd find a good writer. So this is where we see Janet's so mad right now.
Jen just turned into Pennywise. It's coming right for us.
So this is when we see Bill talking to Georgie
Yes. And,
and
this is-
one-armed Georgie.
And it's so sad in the book because the reason it keeps appearing as Georgie is because Bill's biggest fear is that it's his fault that his brother died.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is his fault that his brother died.
No.
Well, it's Pennywise's fault, but
Yeah, but he put him in that situation. So
No. You can go about your life doing things like making boats and expect people not to murder you.
he put his brother in the situation to get killed.
No. How's that Georgie's fault?
I'm not saying that he should feel that way,
But he
that's
blames
why he
himself
feels
for
that
that.
way.
Yes.
He feels that way because
I
his
thought
brother
you were
would
saying
not.
It was Bill's fault. His
No,
brother died.
no.
Jen, you
But-
got that right, Jen?
But the reason my brother is dead is because I wanted to go to Wendy's when I was 15.
But that's
if
not
that
your
makes
fault
sense. No,
either.
I know, but like that is the guilt that he feels. Like
But
I understand
and I
that
think
guilt
he was
completely.
faking sick too in that scene, and like
Well.
another thing.
I'm not, but I mean that's why he feels like it's his fault because he's the one that sent him out in the rain to play with the boat.
Okay,
it's
so
not
we're
his
both
fault.
agreeing it's not his fault.
Yeah, it's
But
not
he
his fault
thinks
that
it's his
Pennywise
fault.
killed
Okay.
him, but that's why he feels like
that's
it's his
why he
fault.
blames himself.
Yeah, I mean it is his fault. But that's why he feels it's his fault.
No, Todd, we're not blaming this kid. He
Yeah.
didn't murder his brother.
Listen, what was he wearing? But yeah, so he does blame himself. So he's talking to Georgie, and I really like that he's like, I want nothing more than to take you home and be a part of the family again.
Yeah.
But you're not Georgie.
Yes.
And he takes the sheep gun and shoots him in the head. It's awesome.
It's baller.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also really sad. And
It's
I feel
also it's baller sad.
Yeah.
this is one of the most effective parts of the book for me. And I thought it was done really well in the movie.
I thought it
And
was
this
too.
is-
Although I haven't read the book, but I thought they pulled this off.
Oh yeah, I do too. They all start fighting him at this point. He
Oh,
shoots
yeah.
him. Oh, because he shoots Georgie, and Georgie falls back, and for a second you're like, maybe.
Yeah, Todd was like,
did
"Oh
he
my
shoot
god, was that really Georgie?"
Yeah, and so then no, he starts to like shake out and becomes Pennywise, and then Pennywise starts to fight all of them, and they're jumping on him and hitting him with stuff, and then he grabs Bill at some point, and everyone else is just kind of off.
This is Richie's moment, man.
It really is.
Yeah, I love. I've
Richie.
never loved Richie more than this, and that's saying something because I've loved him this whole time.
Yeah, he has this is not what happens in the book, but he's got another moment like this in the book that is just, it's why Richie is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
So they're saying, okay, you guys can just leave him. Just let me have Bill.
Yeah,
you
Pennywise
guys
is
can
saying
go
that.
on. Yeah, go on about your lives. It'll be fine. Just let me
And
store up
Bill
for
is
the
like,
winter.
"Go, guys.
Yeah.
this is my
Bill's
fault.
a good straight up
I brought
dude.
him into. I brought you into this.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll be whatever. It's fine.
I want
Yeah.
you guys to live. Leave me.
Did you guys for a second think that Richie was actually going to? Because he
No.
gets up and he starts talking. He's like, this is your fault, man. We told you not to do this. Yeah. And
I
then-
didn't think for a second it would end that way.
think
No.
so, yeah.
So this is when Richie gets up and he's like, "Yeah, this is your fault. I can't believe you made me do this. You punched me in the face. What are we even doing?"
And now
he grabs that
I gotta
bat.
kill this fucking clown. Welcome
Yeah.
to Losers Club, asshole.
Yeah, and then he starts. And then Pennywise gets up and starts running at him and forgets to duck when he swings the bat at his face.
Yeah.
But this is when everyone just goes ham on him and just starts beating the shit out of Pennywise.
Yes, yeah. And they
How many
start to
middle
wear him
schoolers
down.
do you think you could fight?
You mean like right now?
Yeah.
If I was taking on 7 11-year-olds,
Yeah.
I think I could take them.
Yeah, I think I could.
I think I could take them.
Jen.
I don't know. I think I would be more strategic, and I think I would defeat them all without having to get into hand-to-hand combat.
All right, you don't understand the question.
No, they came to your sewer lair to murder you. You have to fight 7 11-year-olds.
I mean, I could take them all.
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I could take them all. But I would never want to fight 11-year-olds.
No, I'm not condoning. I'm not saying we
I'm
set
not
up a
saying
children
it's
fight
right.
club.
Yeah, I'm just saying they all came at him.
You know the first rule about Children's Fight Club.
I'm just saying they're coming right for me.
Okay, so then they fight the clown, and I'm not crazy about how this ends either. He goes down into the well, and
This is his Gandalf moment.
yeah, and they're saying, we're just not afraid of you anymore, and we're taking all of our power back. And then he says, fear. And then his head starts to fall away, and then he
Yeah, it
goes
blows
down.
his mind.
Yeah. Why did he say fear? That was cheesy to
He
me.
just cracked up.
Yeah.
Maybe he just wanted you to check out Mark Wahlberg's performance in the movie Fear.
I love that movie so
I honestly haven't
much.
seen it.
Oh,
I think
we're going to watch it.
Doesn't Mark Wahlberg finger blast someone on a roller coaster in that movie?
Alicia Silverstone.
Yes, he does. No.
It's strange the things I know about that movie.
No,
Silverstone.
it's Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, it is Reese Witherspoon. I mixed
Yeah.
them up.
Hey, didn't you make out with Reese Witherspoon's husband on?
All of this is alleged.
On the
and
hill behind the
no,
Never Scored
that's
a Theater?
not quite how any of this happened.
You just gotta own it.
Ryan Phillippe needs to get on this podcast. He knows what
They're
he did.
divorced now.
Yeah, he knows what he did, and it was before they got together.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he didn't like that I sucked his face off and left all these bite marks on the side. So
You were doing it wrong, man.
I know, but I just didn't know as I was 11 and in a sewer.
That got real.
It got real dark. Yeah.
So the next thing we see is them sitting on the steps, and she's talking about what happened, and I don't care about that. But then they all stand in a circle, and they decide to swear that if it ever comes back,
Yeah, if they didn't kill it and it comes back in 27 years, we meet back and we kill it then.
yes,
And you can't do a gentleman's agreement. You have to do a blood oath.
I do feel like, and this may be just because of the era it was written in, I feel like blood pacts or like blood brothers was actually more of a thing. Because when was this book written?
but it was back in the 50s when they were doing this.
Yeah,
I
but
do think like blood promises and stuff were like more common back then.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
we're like, no.
what are
Yeah.
you doing?
Yeah.
Now you got to get
Where's
the
my
tetanus shot.
Purell?
Mikey, I will do a Purell pack with you any day you want. Blood pack, I'm out. Purell pack, let's go.
Well, so they do their blood. I almost said they do their Purell pact. They do their blood pact, and they're all holding hands together, and they're saying, "Yeah, just what Todd said." They make the promise to come back if it ever comes back, because they're not sure they actually killed it. I mean, they made it go away for now, but you know,
And then they just slowly Field of Dreams away one by one.
and the order they leave is significant. The last,
Okay, good to know.
the last two that are left are Bev and Bill, and they're sitting and they're
But
talking.
Ben was the third one, third wheeling it.
Yeah, he was. He read the situation though, and he was like, "I'm just gonna go."
How long do you think he had to wait before he was like, I don't think they're going to leave?
I
him?
think he immediately, when he got home, was like, "I got to start doing some crunches."
They
he
go into
waited on that
everybody.
field for 4 hours. He's like, I think they're waiting for me to leave.
Yeah, they definitely were.
Oh, Ben, I love you, Ben. So they're talking, and this is when they talk about her moving to Portland, and they have their little kiss moment, and it's really sweet. And then we see It Chapter 1. And until that on the movie, it was not like officially confirmed that this was going to be the sequel, although I think everybody kind of assumed that it was. But yeah, I liked that they put the Chapter 1 in because it didn't come out as Chapter 1. It just came out as It. So yeah, telling us that we are going to get the part 2, which is them as grown-ups.
And that's the movie.
And that's the movie.
Yeah,
roll the
Yay.
That is a long movie.
But it's a long book and it's a long story. And like what you were saying, I don't know what they could have really cut
either.
out.
No, I think
you
they did
know?
a good job taking a big, because if you're going to split it up into 2 movies,
Yeah.
I think it was a good job doing the childhood parts together and then doing the adult part for the sequel.
Let's talk box office, though. So, guys, this movie, $35 million production budget.
Right, really? It looked higher budget than that.
No, it didn't. Look at the belly on Ed's
Yeah.
mom.
That was 30 of that million.
That's only, yeah, it was only like $20. The effects looked great.
She just took all the pillows on her couch and shoved them in her windbreaker. So it was $35 million to make, and it grossed domestically $327 million.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, foreign was $372 million. So it made $700 million worldwide. It was in the top 5 of movies for the first 6 weeks it was out. First 2 weeks it was number 1.
That's really good.
It crushed it. Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised to make a third one. It's just going to say it's back.
Second one?
No,
No,
third
they're going to
one.
make a trilogy. Yeah. It's going to be shoehorned in like the third Hobbit movie. If you're laughing out there, you're a nerd and you know what I'm talking
yeah.
about.
It's going to be a side story of like the meatpacking guy falling in love with the librarian.
Oh, you know what they could do, which would be awesome, is they could make an anthology series of all the different interludes
I'm out.
that they skipped over. That would be great. But I protest The Hobbit because that is bullshit. Okay, so along with box office, this is now the
Oh,
satire.
wait. One more thing about the box office. I'm sorry, Jen. It's the number 1
I was gonna say.
R-rated horror movie. It beat out The Exorcist, which is now number 2. Now, if you adjust for inflation, that's not the case.
Yes, you're right.
But
yeah. I
it
just
is the
have
number
it's
one
the number
grossing horror
one
movie.
horror movie. Yeah.
I think it'll probably beat that in the sequel.
It's it might. It's the number 1 R-rated movie. No, it's the number 4 highest grossing R-rated movie. Behind like Deadpool and a couple other things.
Well, yeah. But in the horror genre.
The trailer for this, when it dropped, it broke the trailer record. Also, it got viewed worldwide 197 million times in 24 hours.
Jesus.
I know, it was crazy. And I was one of those people. I watched it several times and cried a couple of times. I'm not a visual person. So while I'm reading this, I'm not seeing these characters in my mind. I'm just kind of going along with the story. So when I saw this trailer and I saw all these kids that I kind of feel like are my friends, and I saw them for the first time, and it got me a little emotional. It's a really good trailer.
Let's do fun facts.
That's
Jen,
one of my
fun
fun facts. So that was one of my fun facts. If you're a Stephen King fan, you've been following production of this for a long time. And it actually, the first version was going to be directed by Cary Fukunaga, who directed the first season of True Detective. And he wrote the script, and apparently it was a much darker script, and he kind of clashed with the studio a little bit. And so he ended up dropping out of the production, and he had already cast Pennywise as somebody else. But when he dropped out of the production, that guy pulled out too. So they kind of had to start over a little bit. But they used some of his script, and I like the way they rewrote the script. And Cary Fukunaga did not write the script for the sequel, so I'm a little nervous about how they're going to do that. But Finn Wolfhard, who plays Richie, was the only one who was cast in both versions of the movie, and I think he was a smart choice because he's awesome.
Yeah, he's the biggest star, I think, in the movie just because of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Another fun fact related to that: the Duffer Brothers really wanted to direct this movie, but they weren't big enough. They weren't known at all back then.
They certainly are now.
They are now. And if you look at what Stranger Things is, it is an homage to It and Firestarter. If you put those two books together, you've kind of got it's like a sci-fi version of It with a Firestarter element. But yeah, so there's a lot of parallels. A lot of Richie and Eddie's scenes together were improvised.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
really
Nice.
funny.
There are some things I have a problem with in this movie, but what they really get right is the kids and the feel of
I
friendship.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just definitely tell these kids were like actually friends.
Yes.
I think Ben and Bev and Richie were the best of the kids, but all the kids were great.
They really did, and they came together really well. And I like that the movie spent enough time with the kids in non-scary scenes to see their friendship grow. Did you guys remember when this came out? I was driving to work one day, and I saw a little red balloon poking out of the sewer. So when this was premiering, people people were kind of putting red balloons around town.
I remember that. Yes,
Remember?
I do remember.
Yeah,
that.
and it didn't just happen in Nashville; it happened other places. Okay, my last fun fact is there's a moment when Bill Skarsgård has in the beginning one of his eyes goes in another direction. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
So they were going to CGI that, and he was like, "Well, hold on, I can actually do that," and he just did it right in front of him. So that's his actual eyes
I guess I
doing
like
that.
Gross.
And those are my fun facts. All right, scary scale.
So, Jen, what is the scary scale?
Listeners, our scary scale is our ranking of how scared we were when we watched this movie. Today is not a ranking of the quality of the film. It's how scared we were when we watched it today. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters. Our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, Todd, where are you going to rank this?
This is a 9 for me.
9 for you.
Yeah, this is more
really?
scary than The Conjuring was for
You
me.
think so?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there are more jump scares in this than The Conjuring.
It is very jump scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is horrible.
And we've kind of been talking about this, Mikey and I, a little bit because I don't remember being that scared
I
that
don't
one of them
remember
was behind
a
me
lot
in
of
theater.
jump scares at all in the theater.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but we watched it today, and maybe it's just us reacting to Todd. But yeah,
No, because usually when I watch stuff with Todd, I'm less scared because he's acting ridiculously
Rude?
Nah.
Rude. Friend.
like flipping his phone up in the air.
Yeah, I usually just laugh hysterically when stuff is scaring Todd, but I wasn't even laughing today.
It's just so serious and so scary. And there's so many unnecessary jump scares.
I think it's the overall design and the aesthetic and like all the way they play it.
Yeah.
And the way that it's directed and everything. I think they did a really great job. It really scared me. Can I just go ahead and give my rating?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.
Yeah.
Nice. I think I'm going to give it a 7.
Wow. Okay.
It's like intellectually scary to me, but it doesn't scare me on as much of a visceral level. And it could be because I've read this book so many times and I know all the beats of the story and I just love all the characters.
I'm going to have a hard time walking to my car. I'm going to have a hard time driving home. I'll be checking the back seat the whole time. And then when I get home, I'm going to have all the lights on. It's going to be hard for me to sleep
This
tonight.
was scarier than when I saw it in theaters. I will say, I was watching it tonight was scarier the second time, which I have never said that about a movie. I
did think it was a little scarier for me watching it the second time too.
If I had taken my Blair Witch Project date to see this when I was in high school, it would have ended worse than it did when it was the Blair Witch Project.
You think she would have scooted a couple of seats over in the theater
Yeah.
if that had been available
So it
to
didn't
her?
end with her like bite marking your face.
No, I walked her to her car and we never talked again.
Oh, until Facebook.
No, I mean, honestly, we were still friends, but
Yeah.
that was the only
There was
sort
no
of
more talk
That was
about-
the only pseudo date we went on.
Yeah.
She's like, he would never protect me.
Well, yeah. Yeah. How many times did you yell at the screen? She's dead. Move on.
I mean, honestly,
Maybe that's more of the problem. not that you were
she couldn't
screaming.
outrun me, so she knew if something bad happened, it would be her that
You
died.
would have just moved away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, yo, Rachel's dead. We got to move on, guys.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if I would want to continue a relationship with someone like that.
Oh my
too.
God, yeah. The listeners made me watch it this week.
That's right,
So what are
yeah.
you guys making me watch next week?
I am so excited. We're going to watch Us. This is going to be a new release episode. We're going to go see it in theaters when it comes out.
Oh, we're going to the movies.
Yes. We're
Let's all go to the movies. Let's all go to the movies.
Let's all go to the movies.
Jen, you never
and
been- Scare the
watch
shit out of
ourselves
the
some Us. Yay.
Yeah.
So a lot of you guys are probably going to see Us this weekend anyway, but go see it just so on Monday when we're out there, you guys are good to listen to the episode. Let's read one of our 5-star reviews. We actually got a bunch of 5-star reviews in the past few days. Mikey, do you want to read one?
Yeah, sure.
So this 5-star review is from someone named Vodka Kisses, and I don't know why I love that name. I don't drink, but I love that name.
So he or she says, I hate podcasts. Ironic. I used to have one, but I love these guys.
5 stars. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Vodka Kiss.
Thank you very much, Vodka
We're
Kisses.
blowing you back your own Vodka Kiss.
Yes. Is a vodka kiss where you like kiss all the way on the sides of their cheeks and leave bite marks?
I think so.
So if you want us to read your 5-star review, put one on there, type some words, and I'll read it on one of the podcasts probably,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So we are a member of the Modern Horrors Podcast Network, so make sure you check out all of their shows like the Modern Horrors Podcast, Final Girls and Death Dying, and other things. And if you want to follow more of us, go to @HorrorVirgin on any of the social channels, really, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or join the Facebook group, which is really freaking popping off right now.
Yeah.
We've actually put up a lot of extra exclusive videos on the Facebook group. So if
we
you want to see
appreciate
me
everybody
freak out.
posting their own content.
Yeah,
and,
I love that.
Making their
Yeah.
own discussions and stuff. It's been really fun.
It's turned into a really cool community. It's
I like
really
it a
fun.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to follow us individually, Jen Ferratu Instagram, and Twitter, right?
And at Gmail if you want to email me about Stephen King thoughts.
There you go. And it's mrandolph24 on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, we are all active in the Facebook group as well. And I am at Todd J. Awesome on all of the socials. Of course, follow at Horror Virgin for the show accounts. And if you want to contribute to our Patreon, it's patreon.com/Horror Virgin. A lot of great perks there. And we really thank all of those that can and do support us there.
If you want to email us, if you have any questions or anything, email us at info@horrorvirgin.com.
Questions, comments, concerns.
Yeah,
all of that stuff.
Check out our website.
Yeah, the
too.
blog. I was about to say the blog is horrorvirgin.com. There's the blog that Jen writes and Mikey has promised to write some stuff for.
I wrote one about Bev, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, check it
nice.
out.
And we've got links to our merch store and stuff like that up there.
Yeah, fun stuff.
So, guys, that's going to be it this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and listening to us talk about it.
And thank you for participating in our listener request.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'm so happy to be able to watch this movie. So thank you for choosing it. We're already got some ideas for the next ones for April and May. So make sure you're paying attention.
Awesome. Well, guys, that's going to do it for us this week.
I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good week.
Bye. Nerds.